All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Market Close. We are live. It is Tuesday, November 25th. Folks, we got a bunch of earnings today that we're going to go through in the next 15 minutes as we get those earnings updates. We got Dell, Workday, Cleanspark, Autodesk, HP, and a couple other names. I'm putting a poll right here in the chat to see which one you guys think outperforms, Zscaler as well in the cybersecurity space. On top of that, the biggest headline of the day was this Google Nvidia story, and we've got a lot of updates in terms of what happened with that story. In fact, it took a bit of a stab here on Nvidia early in the day. You are being rewarded. Nvidia right here at 177.52, recovering a decent chunk of what it lost. Stock got to 169. How is the mic bad as soon as I go live? What is going on? This is ridiculous. All right, how about now? Dude, how did the mic get horrible within 5? I think that's the fastest the mic faded out. Was I that loud that it messed up the mic? Yes, we're good. Okay, I'll switch back to the other mic after a second. That is okay. Anyway, yes, rookie streamer. You think you do this after? I'm coming on 3 years on doing this. This is going to be, by starting 2026, it'll be 3 years of doing this. And every day we still make a mistake. Anyway, Nvidia, 177.42. I did buy the dip a little bit at 170.8. Bought that live this morning. I know a bunch of you in the chat. I think when Jose was on, we got to 169, and a bunch of people bought that dip at 169. Recovering a decent amount of the dip. We have some reasons for why they're recovering some of the dip, and we'll get in a second. Nvidia right there, still down about 2.8% today. S&P, we have reclaimed the 50-day moving average. Let me repeat, we have reclaimed the 50-day moving average. We are not out of the woods yet. We will have Jason on later, and we'll get into Technical Tuesday and get his thoughts on what's going on with the moving averages on a variety of different names. But the fact that the S&P is up 1% on the day, remember, yesterday we were up 1.5%. That means in the past 48 hours, that is a 2.5% move. We were down 5% from the highs last Friday. We are recovering 50% of what we were down. If we get another 1% move, it's recovering almost 75% of what we're down. So this is a really good price action to see from the S&P 500, and you are seeing it broaden out a bit and not just being led by tech, because the most important company in the S&P 500 that is 8.3% of the entire index is down 2.7%, but the S&P 500 is up. So what's leading it? UNH, that's up 2.4%. Google, not at 330, but still up 1.24%, so not too bad. Meta, 635, that's up 3.6% on the day. You got Arista, that's up. Cisco, that's up. Broadcom, that's up. They have a variety of different names coming into the picture outside of just Nvidia. Even Hoodie is getting 116.55. Hood almost got to 117. So very exciting to see a little bit more of the broadening out. And as a result, the S&P 500 right there at 675. Apple as well touched 280 on the day, a little bit down from that 280 now at 277.54. But nice to see that Apple is getting some of that momentum. So what happened today and what is going on with this Nvidia Google story? And we're going to get deeper into it. First off, you guys are still seeing a mic issue. Give me 1 second. Let me switch something real quick. I think that should fix it. Okay, let's do this. Let's move this here. And then, okay, we should be good. We should be good. Let me know if it's not. We should be good. If it's still bad, I'm going to switch back to the old mic and we'll see what we can figure out. So I think the first thing today was that Nvidia responded. Nvidia responded. And as a result of Nvidia responding, that was at least what got the market to be a little bit taken care of. Mic is good? Okay, cool. So what did Nvidia say? They issued a full-on statement with their response. They said, we're delighted by Google's success. They've made great advances in AI, and we continue to supply to Google. NVIDIA is a generation ahead of the industry. It's the only platform that runs every AI model and does it everywhere computing is done. And NVIDIA offers greater performance, versatility, and fungibility than ASICs, which are designed for specific AI frameworks and functions. So that announcement coming out today by NVIDIA, yeah, as Robert says in the chat, NVIDIA was like, I'm so happy for you guys, but we're better. I mean, it's been memed in a variety of different ways because obviously it's, I mean, it's kind of funny. NVIDIA's like, Hey, congrats, Google. We love that you're doing so well, but you know, we're still here. That got the market to at least calm down a little bit. Now, I know there's the bear case from a lot of people saying, why the hell is Nvidia responding? They're a $4 trillion company. They're sending letters saying that they're not the next Enron. They're responding to Michael Burry. Why are they responding to these TPUs? I think at its core, we got to remember what happened with DeepSeek. I still remember when we were live and Nvidia issued like a 1-sentence statement on DeepSeek. And basically they were like, reasoning demand is only going up. So, I mean, implicitly they were like, buy the dip. But I think this is what Jensen's sort of attitude is. When this type of stuff happens, Jensen wants to be on the offense, although it might perceptually seem like it's a defensive move. He wants to get his perspective out there, and you can't blame him. He's a CEO of a multi-trillion-dollar company. He understands that the entire economy and the entire AI trade is resting on Nvidia's shoulders. So for him to come out with a response and want to actively respond, although you're going to have some people perceive it in the wrong way, I don't think that's the craziest idea in the world. So the Nvidia sell-off, I mean, not being as aggressive as a sell-off, down about 2.4%. It was down almost 8% at one point. Market obviously bought the dip, and they didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. S&P 500 right there, 675. All the analyst reports I read this morning, whether it's Bank of America, Bernstein, all of them came out and said, hey, we think you should buy Nvidia, Broadcom, and AMD. We don't think Google is just going to take over the entire market with these TPUs. These are things we should be cautious of, but it's not something we should be scared of. Then you had a Google DeepMind research scientist who works as a head co-designer on the TPUs at Google, the thing that's been causing all this market volatility. And someone said, this is a completely irrational market. And they were quote tweeting a post of Nvidia, AMD, Oracle all being down on the day, all the chip stocks outside of Oracle. And this guy, Amir Yazdan, says the sell-off shows how clueless the market is about hardware and demand. So you've got someone literally from Google who, if we go to his profile right here, works on TPU co-designs at the company, saying the market is stupid because there is so much demand. There is so much inevitability of overall data center build out that, yeah, Google's going to take a chunk of that market, or Google potentially can take a chunk of that market if this TPU thing starts to succeed and they get other hyperscalers on board, which is a big if. But even if that's the case, all right, take away 10% of NVIDIA's revenues, and yeah, maybe that dips the stock a little bit. 90% of the market still needs to be fulfilled. S&P 500 high of day at 676, and that enters in NVIDIA. So I don't know, dude. Like the entire dip today, it's just felt like it's not as serious as maybe people thought it needed to be. Meta, look at that, up 3.8%, 636 on the day. That one being a beneficiary potentially of getting some cheaper TPUs versus GPUs, and the market potentially liking that. But then NVIDIA trying to get back to 178 and maybe recover on some of the momentum that we lost today. So, I mean, I read a lot of different perspectives. You definitely have a ton of people that are bearish on this TPU thing. I just think it's not enough to discount NVIDIA's moat. And so from that perspective, I think that this is going to be okay over the long term. A couple other macro stats. We got 6 minutes until the market closes. We have a ton of earnings. I didn't even know we had these many earnings today, but we do have a ton of different earnings. NVIDIA right there back to 178. First of all, Interactive Brokers showing the most actively traded names today. NVIDIA, Tesla, AMD, Palantir, Meta, Google, TQQQ, QQQ, Amazon, and SOXL, which is the leveraged semiconductors ETF. Retail is sticking with technology. So in the face of some of these AI bubble concerns, although the S&P 500 is starting to recover some of the fears that it had before, that AI trade comes back on, and you're starting to see some more momentum head into those names. I'm sure plenty of us in the chat, you know, many of us in this morning bought NVIDIA, and we were part of that part of retail that essentially said, hey, we're going to buy the dip on this. And it goes forward to this graph right here as well. Options market activity continues to skyrocket. The average daily notional trading volume in the S&P 500 options hit a record $3.5 trillion last week. The highest options volume in history, according to Goldman Sachs, was last week, 95 million contracts. I mean, it's absolutely exceptional. And so I think the sort of animal spirits and the excitement in the markets, although last week was an ugly week and you had a lot of people that took a downfall in their portfolios, you had a lot of people buy the dip, and you had a lot of people probably buy some leap contracts on these names that they felt were a bit too oversold. NVIDIA right there, 177.83. Apple at 277. Meta, 636, up 3.8% of the day. S&P 500 trying to go for that 675 close. If we close above 675, it would be very nice to see. And then you got Robinhood right here, 116. Eli Lilly up another 3%, now well above that $1 trillion market cap. Nebius down about 3.4% of the day. IREN down about 2.4%. CoreWeave was down 10%. Now it's only down 3.5%. So some of the data center names still getting hit.
as Nvidia is down, but not getting hit as badly as they were before earlier in the morning when Nvidia was below 170 at one point. And again, the below 170 is not just like a psychological, like, oh my goodness, it's below 170, that's bad. It's after those earnings for Nvidia to dump basically $400 billion in market cap today is the most surprising part. And given somewhat of the recovery that we're seeing, I think you have some people that just said enough was probably enough when it came to Nvidia. There was a report by MSNBC that Kash Patel was going to be fired by Trump. The White House came out and said that's not the case. In fact, they took a picture of Trump and Kash Patel together, and they said that was fake news. So for those wondering if we're going to get a new FBI director, seems like that is not going to happen as per what the White House said. Now, again, the job market this morning, we looked at some of that data, and it wasn't the best. We had 13,500 jobs to the negative that we saw from ADP private payrolls, which actually increased the rate cut probabilities to now 82.7%. This was at 75% yesterday. So you got an increase on those rate cut odds. You had a bunch of Fed presidents come out. In fact, the former Dallas Fed president 2 hours ago said if he was on the committee, he would vote to cut rates. His argument was the labor market is something that we cannot ignore just because there might be a gradual increase in inflation, which there was a gradual increase in inflation in this morning's PPI data, although it was better than expectations for September. Now, we got some other data about an hour ago from the October budget deficit for the United States, $284 billion. In October of 2024, the deficit was $257 billion, so that's $30 billion extra. U.S. October budget outlays $689 billion versus $584 billion in October 2024. How much did we bring in from tariffs? $31.4 billion versus $7.3 billion in 2024. So we increased the tariff revenues by more than 4x, but the deficit increased by $30 billion because we are still spending way more than we are bringing in, even after 4xing the custom duties that we're bringing in from tariffs. Which means obviously the country has a spending problem, and ironically, that is your bull case for Bitcoin, even though Bitcoin's not acting like that. Bitmine right there is down on the day by about 6.4%. Bitcoin right here was at 89 at one point, now at 87.4. But you do have that deficit that continues to widen even with the increase of custom receipts that we are getting in from the tariff. So Reddit as well, great day. I don't know what the headline is on Reddit, but wow, 12%. Pretty incredible. 12% right there on Reddit as we have 2 minutes into the close. S&P 500, 675. Duolingo even is up today, 1.78%. And then Nvidia is probably going to be red on the day, but will be higher than where it was earlier in the morning. What did you guys say in the poll? And let me know if anyone owns any of these stocks. We got a lot of these earnings we're going to dive into, and then we'll get Jason onto the show. 55% of you said Dell outperforms Workday, Cleanspark, and Zscaler. I should probably make the list, by the way, for earnings. Yeah, if I had to pick, I guess I would pick Dell as well. I don't know these names as intimately. Then again, Dell already increased a lot of their earnings projections last week, or not last week, like 3 weeks ago. That's when the stock was up like 7%. So do I think they could continue to outperform? Yes, the margins always become an issue when it comes to Dell. But nonetheless, that one would be an important one for the day. And then we have a couple other names that I'll add as well. Yeah, Zscaler, the cybersecurity names have actually been doing pretty well. I mean, CrowdStrike was hitting all-time highs a couple weeks ago. And Palo Alto, I know they went down, but they did have some consolidation as well. Even Tesla, 419, looks like it's ending green. So it wouldn't be crazy to imagine that one has a good day. All right, here we go. We got a bunch of earnings. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We will get into these earnings, and then we will get into Technical Tuesday, and we will see how this market ends up closing out. Tuesday, November 25th, 4 p.m., the stock market is now closed. All right, we're done for the day. It is a pretty good day, up 1% on the S&P after being up 1.5% yesterday. So 2.5%. I mean, I'll take it after the week we had last week. I don't think anyone can be too upset about that type of performance. S&P 500 right there, 674.96, closes on the day green by about 0.95%. Bitcoin right there, 87,000. Ethereum at 29.20. Tesla 419. Still up about 0.32% on the day. Nvidia, did we get 177? We got 177.82 on Nvidia. I think this is Google's highest close ever at 323. $3.9 trillion market cap. It needs to be at $331.48 to get to that $4 trillion level. Grab right there was basically flat on the day. Rocket Lab was up about 0.35%. Micron up 0.27%. SOFI actually had a great day, up 3.5%. Same thing with Hoodie, which got back to 115, 115.57, 116 after hours. That was also up 0.5%. UNH was up 2%. Figma was flat on the day. Coinbase was slightly down. MicroStrategy, I think, was slightly down as well. MSTR, yep, down about 3.4%. Whereas CrowdStrike on the day, CrowdStrike was up 1%. Lemonade back in the 70s, 74 on Lemonade. Oscar holding on to that ACA pump that we heard yesterday with Trump extending or potentially proposing to extend those subsidies. So Oscar is up 1.49%. Then Zeta increased the guidance, and Zeta kind of held on, I think, to about a 5% move. Yeah, 3% move on the day. Nubank also, congrats to those in Nubank, all-time highs. I don't know what the catalyst was today for this, but they had a great earnings a couple of weeks ago. Nubank right there, 1661, up 4.3% on the day for Nubank. Yeah, Dan Ives also did sit down with David Steinberg from Zeta. I saw a little bit of that interview. So you got Zeta having some really good performance on that increase of guidance. Nebius was down about 3.3%. Chipotle was up a little bit. Wow, Chipotle 7% on the day. That seems a little weird. I'll try to find out what happened with Chipotle. And then McDonald's was up about 1.82%. All right, earnings. Let's get into it. Workday, that's green after hours. Cleanspark, that is also green after hours. You got Cleanspark up 4.3%. Workday is up 4.3%. Autodesk as well, up 4%. All right, some of these earnings that are coming in, pretty decent numbers. CrowdStrike does not have earnings today, so we're not going to hear from CrowdStrike. We also have HP and NetApp that we'll be looking at as well. HP is red after hours. NetApp, that one, don't have, no, NetApp's also 5%. Wow, you got pretty much most of these names going red after, or going green after hours by about 4 to 5%. Dell is going to be the big one. Wow, NetApp up 6%. Dell still flat. Cleanspark up 4. Autodesk up 5. Cleanspark again pivoted to be an AI company now. Kohl's, by the way, was up 42% on the day. Did anyone trade that move? Goodness, Kohl's 42%. Workday up 3%. And then Autodesk up 4% as well. Let's see if we can get some of these numbers. I think we're getting some of them come in. Let's pull this up. By the way, Vlad's AI startup, Harmonic, just raised another 120 million. So now it's worth 1.45 billion. So not only does he have Robinhood, but now he has his mathematical LLM company that is worth, that's a unicorn, basically, 1.45 billion. Okay, let's see. I got some of these numbers. All right, Autodesk, let's look at that first. Autodesk, they beat on the top and the bottom, beat by 7% on EPS, 267 versus 250, beat by 2% on revenue. Revenue's up 18% year over year. EPS is up 20% year over year. Autodesk is up 2.69%, so that is a double beat. Abercrombie, yeah, massive day. A lot of the XRT, which is the retail ETF, had one of its best days since May of 2025. So we had a really strong day for the retail stocks. And we looked at some of those earnings this morning with Best Buy and Burlington that were also pretty good. Workday beat by 7% on EPS, 232 versus 217. Revenue 2.4 versus 2.4. That was in line with expectations. Revenue's up 13%. EPS is up 23% year over year. Workday's up 2.68% after hours. Dell is up 2%. No, it's up 1%. Don't have the numbers. Cleanspark's up 9%. I'll try to get Cleanspark's numbers and see what we've got there. Nutanix also had earnings today. This is another software company. They were in line with expectations on EPS, 41 cents versus 41 cents, 670 versus 676 million on revenue. Revenue was, wow, Nutanix down 11%. Revenue missed by 1%. Dell's up. Are we up? Up. We got to pop. Let's see. Dell's up 5%. This is the big one. This also has implications for server racks, SMCI, potential Nvidia demand, etc. So that stuff is important. Cleanspark, by the way, they missed on EPS by 100%. Street wanted 44 cents. They came in at 0. They missed by revenue by 2%, but Street somehow is not too upset. Zscaler just went red. We'll get those earnings in a second. Zscaler down 7%. Dell, it was up 6. Now it's up 2. It was up 6. Now it's up 2. Okay, let's see if we can get Dell. Those are the numbers we need to see. Let me know if anyone has an earnings trade on these as well. Zscaler beat on the top and the bottom, beat by 12% on EPS, beat by 2% on revenue. Revenue's up 26% year over year. EPS is up 25% year over year. 788 versus 773 on revs, 96 versus 86 cents on EPS. So Zscaler a double beat, but still down. Dell, I have their numbers. They missed on revenue by 1%. 27 billion versus 27.2. They beat on EPS by 4%. 2.59 versus 2.48. That's a beat and a miss. The stock is up 4% right here. Let's see the guidance. The guidance is probably the most important. Dell sees fiscal year 2026 adjusted EPS midpoint at 992. The street thought it was going to be 955. That's bullish. And then fiscal year revenue for 2026. Wow. They're saying 111 billion on the low end. Street thought it would be 105 to 109. On the high end, 112. So they're beating by at least 3 billion on revenue for 2026, and they're beating by about 40 cents, 35 cents on EPS expectations for 2026. Yet the stock is not really reciprocating, as it's trying to hold a 2% move, but still relatively red. That's decent guidance, dude. And we know their guidance was going to be good based on the investor day they had a couple weeks ago. Cleanspark still up 7%. Zscaler still down 5%. HP is flat. Weird that Dell's not getting a little bit more of a pump. Let's pull up some coverage on this one and see what we've got here. That's a pretty big beat on expectations. I mean, even I didn't think, even after we read the analyst day sort of update 2 weeks ago, I didn't think they would beat by this much.
Dell delivered a mixed report. Earnings came in strong at $2.59 per share, beating expectations, but revenues of $27.01 billion came in slightly light. Gross margins, though, 20.7%, beating estimates despite these higher memory prices. Many concerns about that going into earnings. The story, though, was really about the split between their two main businesses, the Infrastructure Solutions Group, that's servers, networking, storage, that it beat estimates. But the Client Solutions Group, which is PCs and laptops, fell a little bit short. Dell raised guidance across the board. They're now expecting full year revenue of $111.2 to $112.2 billion. That's well above Wall Street estimates. And then the same thing for the earnings per share guidance. It also came in higher at $9.92. And lastly, for AI exposure, the CFO saying in the release that they're raising their AI shipment guidance to roughly $25 billion, up from the previous $20 billion target. And I'm also seeing just on the headlines that Dell is going to be working with IREN, which is they operate data centers in Canada. So perhaps there's not really a market reaction in that stock, but the two will be working together to build data centers in Canada.
IREN flat. I think we already knew about the IREN Dell announcement a while ago. So you probably wouldn't get a crazy market reaction there. But again, these are some pretty good earnings by Dell. That's up 2%. By the way, Cleanspark, I have the actual numbers right here. Cleanspark brought in $766 million of revenue. That's up 102% year over year. Net income is $364 million versus a net loss of $145 million. CEO said, "We are evolving into a comprehensive compute platform that is prepared to optimize value from both AI and Bitcoin workloads. Our deep expertise in power procurement, infrastructure development, and efficient scaling gives us a unique advantage in meeting surging global demand for compute." They also just closed that convertible note transaction a week ago. So market likes it. Cleanspark right there. Up 7%. As Cleanspark goes green. Workday, that's flat. Autodesk is flat. A lot of these names popped and now they're kind of fading. Nutanix still down. HP, we don't have their numbers yet. NetApp still up 5%. Zscaler, I don't know why the market's that upset about Zscaler. Goodness, 8% down. How much is this up year to date? Year to date, well, yeah, it was up 60%. I mean, a lot of these names also just had a big move. Then you got Dell, still up 2.4. Zscaler had a double beat. Zscaler had a double beat. But that one is down. VIX did collapse to 15. That is also a sign that is positive for the bulls. I mean, the VIX collapsing the way that it collapsed from that 20 close that it had yesterday, I think goes to show maybe some of the volatility is coming down and maybe the market's a bit more excited about the AI trade again. I think one thing that we've all recognized is how quickly these narratives can get constructed and then fade away. I mean, the narrative on Google was that search was dead. Now Google is basically a $4 trillion company. The narrative on Nvidia now is not the best for whatever reason, but that can fade pretty quickly. And the same thing is for the entire AI ecosystem. And we might be on the back half of that narrative. Dan Ives on CNBC, let's get his thoughts, and then we'll get into a couple other earnings and then get into Technical Tuesday.
What we're talking about, the second, third, fourth derivatives are just starting to play out across the AI revolution. I think those that call it a bubble, you know, it's easy to call it a bubble because you don't see it in the spreadsheet. I believe this is a tech bull market, goes on another 2 years. Look at Alphabet as another example. New York City cab driver was bearish in Alphabet to start the year. Now look, because the reality is AI is a tailwind for them. We're seeing that, you know, even with Broadcom and, you know, everything we're seeing on the chip side.
I mean, yesterday, the president signed an executive order for Genesis Mission. This is the big AI project that is going to harken back to, you know, the post-World War II years of Manhattan Project here. Is there a government backstop here? Is that one more reason why you should be buying into this bull market for AI?
Yeah, and look, I mean, as we spend so much time in D.C., the reality is for the first time in 30 years, U.S. is ahead of China when it comes to tech. And when it comes to what we see from big tech, I think there is a government backstop because the reality is that it's led by Godfather of AI, Jensen NVIDIA. It's led by Microsoft. It's led from what we see with OpenAI. And look, the worries about the too big to fail and some of the concerns, we are still, like we talked about, we're top of the third, maybe one out in terms of this AI game. And I think we have 2 more years left in this tech bull market. And that really continues to be the core here from all of our checks.
I just want to go back to Alphabet as it does trade at a record high right now. And that is, how much of a game changer is Gemini 3? And how quickly is the technology changing in general in terms of winners and losers? Like how to gauge that, how to think about that as an investor.
Yeah, because the back was against the wall for a few years. Now you're seeing a major change there from Gemini, and ultimately I think Apple, that's really going to walk down the aisle with them from a Gemini partnership. That's going to be their AI piece. And then you look what's happened on chips. You look at the sum of the parts. Look, I could argue Alphabet, you have another 80, 100 hours upside relative to the AI piece that's not factored in yet into the story.
Okay, Dana?
I mean, if that's the case, you got Google at a $400 stock, which would be quite incredible. By the way, Microsoft as well, barely up on the day. I mean, if we're going into 2026 with Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta trading at some of their lowest multiples in years, definitely for Meta and Amazon. Microsoft just started getting into that cheaper category, given it was basically at like 520 for the majority of the year. I mean, is the plan for 2026 to just go long the 3 most undervalued Max 7s? Like, is that the plan? Because I don't hate that plan. That makes life pretty easy in 2026 if like you have to buy 3 cheap Max 7s, Microsoft, Amazon, and Meta, and you can kind of just sit back and chill. There's no guarantee that they're all going to massively perform next year, but I mean, if you're thinking of what's the play for 2026, obviously Tesla, Apple, Nvidia, Google have kind of made their move. What if those 3 haven't? And so if those 3, I mean, we all know Amazon's going to be $300 one day. Like that's, it's not guaranteed, but like Google did it. I feel like Amazon's next. Amazon just obviously does not have the type of margins Google has, which is why it's going to take some more time, but that's where the whole AI robotics thesis comes into play. And then obviously a lot of us know that Meta's undervalued. The question is going to be the return on investment on their CapEx, but maybe that's the setup going into 2026. Urban Outfitters, wow, 17%. Guys, if you've been looking at the retail earnings today, they've been really good. And that is going against the narrative. Again, XRT, this is the retail ETF. It was up 5% today. That is going against the narrative that the consumer is weak. If the consumer has money to spend at Urban Outfitters, maybe they're not that weak. It's pretty incredible to see these companies continue to beat in retail heavy names that are now doing well, and the market's rewarding them for that.
Has those numbers for us. Hi, Corey.
Hi, we're going to add this to another good quarter for retail. Shares popping here, 15, almost 16%. Urban Outfitters earnings coming in stronger than expected at $1.28 compared to $1.20. Revenues also stronger than expected, $1.53 billion. Consensus was $1.47 billion. Third quarter comparable sales up 8%, well better than the 5% expected. Urban Outfitters, so just that brand, the namesake brand, comps up 12.5%. That's 3 times as good as what the street was expecting.
Bro, Same store sales comps up 300%. Is this all Christmas or this has got it? No, this is Q3. This is not Q4. This is Q3. This was July, August, September. This has been a hell of a day for these retail stocks. Burlington, Best Buy now, Urban Outfitters. I mean, this really does go against that consumer weakening narrative, at least for some of these stocks.
Expecting. Anthropology comps up 7.6%. Free People comps up 4.1%. Free People slightly disappointing based on what the street had been expecting, but still quite good when you're looking at retail overall. Comments from the CEO basically just saying trends observed during the quarter remain consistent. No guidance given here. The conference call does start at 5 o'clock where we'll get a little bit more color. Back over to you.
Yeah.
Abercrombie was up 40% on the day. I mean, you would think that a market that, look at this, 37%. You would think that a market that's scared of the consumer based on what we saw from Lulu and Chipotle and Starbucks would kind of, and Shake Shack would kind of say, hey, maybe people don't have this excess money to buy $75 jeans at Abercrombie. But I guess they do. I guess they have the money. By the way, HP just had earnings. They're down 4%. HP missed. No, they beat. They beat by 1% on EPS, beat by 1% on revenue, 93 cents versus 92 cents. EPS is flat year over year. Revenue's up 4%, 14.6 versus 14.4. That stock is down 5.3% after hours. Yeah, maybe the Sydney Sweeney effect. I mean, but it just across the entire market. I cannot believe the retail ETF. Consumer sales were better than expected. Or retail sales this morning were better than expected, but it wasn't like a massive, massive beat. So the fact that the market rotated into retailers today was quite incredible. For all those complaining about my pronunciation of Chipotle, just know that there's other people in the world that have different perspectives on how to pronounce things. So you got to be different in life to achieve things. If you feed into the propaganda of pronunciation, that's not how it's going to work. Dell goes red. Dell officially goes red. We have HP earnings. Let me pull that up as well. HP, let's get some coverage on that. But Dell and HP both going red.
We're back to overtime. HP earnings are out. Seema Modi has the number. Seema.
John, for the fourth quarter, HP reporting earnings and revenue that beat. Revenue tied to personal systems and printing came in higher than consensus, but the first quarter guide is weaker than expected. The company also announcing a headcount reduction of 4,000 to 6,000 jobs and total cost savings of $1 billion by the end of fiscal 2028, tied to the broader AI adoption. CEO Enrique Lorez telling CNBC that this will help accelerate the company's product development. He adds that his team is taking a prudent approach to its guide. And on the topic of rising memory prices, HP is implementing aggressive actions, he says, like finding lower cost suppliers, and will also look to raise price of their own products as well. Shares down about 6.5%. Morgan.
All right, those are the earnings for today. That is what we've got. Again, markets, relatively strong day, up 1%. We'll get some technical analysis in a second and see kind of how Jason is thinking of everything. One last thing I want to show everybody. There was a study that Anthropic put out today, some new research, saying that current AI models could lift U.S. labor productivity growth by about 1.8% a year, which would be double the average pace since 2019. And we desperately need that to be able to keep up the earnings growth that the S&P 500 is implying. The study looked at 100,000 real Claude conversations and found that AI cut tasks by around 80%, with some healthcare tasks closer to 90%. Users were typically asking Claude to handle work that would take about 1.4 hours and cost around $55 in labor. All of that automated for like $200 a month or whatever subscription that the company is paying to Claude. With AI diffusing across the economy over the next decade and labor making up roughly 60% of productivity, the researchers estimate total factor productivity could rise about 1.1% a year. And again, these are just the initial studies. I mean, if this is anything like what the market is expecting in terms of overall labor productivity growth, that is going to be the overall macro GDP ROI for AI that the market has been looking for. And over the coming years, we're going to see if that ends up playing out. So that's what we got for the earnings. Again, Nutanix down 13, NetApp up 4, HP down 7, Zscaler down 8, Workday down 4, Autodesk up 5.3, Cleanspark up 3, and then Dell down 0.21% on the day. Those are the earnings. It is time to get into the technicals and see if we have reclaimed some of these averages that are going to be necessary to maybe have a happier Thanksgiving. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to roll the intro.
Check. Check one.
What's up?
Check two. Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, dude.
It's almost Turkey Day, man.
Are you a turkey guy? You eat turkey on Thanksgiving or no?
I am not a turkey guy. Oh, I didn't turn my lights on. You guys ain't giving me
a green. You got to get the green lights on if it's a green day.
It's a green day. You know what? Yesterday, my computer was not working, so I had to stream from the other office, and it was all bright white because it's a different color scheme. And it's like, you know what? It worked out because it was very bright green day yesterday, and switched it up. Maybe we should just stream from the bright HQ on the bright green days, and then this can be the red days, and it's all dark and whatnot.
Well, it's been a pretty incredible day. I mean, 1% rebound, 1.5% yesterday. I think let's start with the S&P and get into it. But you warned of some of these moving averages. I think 672. No, I think 675 was your level that we had to reclaim. And
yeah. So I posted a couple things today, and I think before we even get into it, it was funny because I posted last week. I was like, hey, pay attention to the stream or the threat. I guess, what do you call this? Your X feed, and I'll post a couple things. So we're close right now. I actually really like this price action, quite frankly. Like, I really like where we are, but right here, right now, if I pulled up, and I should start doing this, where like we pull up our last week's kind of like not this week, but last week's maybe stream. Too late now, so I'm not going to do it. But later on, and it's literally this moment. So last week we're like, this moment is the moment when we get here. This is the moment that if you were worried before when we were at the lows at 650s, we're going to get here. Literally exactly here. 675. Here we are, smack on the dot. And this is the moment that we have to say, hey, look, if you were that person who was worried then, this is that moment where you should probably take measures. I don't mean sell, just to be crystal clear. I don't mean that. But what I do mean is like, hey, you have a reprieve here and now. Are you going to get caught up in this moment? And are you going to get caught up thinking, we're going back to the moon, I'm overly enthusiastic, or am I gonna forget about it, and I'm forgetting about everything that just happened literally, by the way, two days ago, 2 trading days ago.
Yeah,
as if it never happened, because sentiment has shifted all of the sudden. Or am I gonna actually say, hang on a second, let me click a couple buttons here and make sure that I don't feel that way again. So that's kind of where I'm at.
All right.
But that said, this looks good. I think, so let me go ahead and screen share really quick, I guess.
Yeah, guys, we'll get into all the majors, Nvidia, Palantir, Hood, Tesla, etc., and then we'll take requests. I have nowhere to be tonight, so we have all the time to do it, but we'll try to get to as many as we can. And again, we'll do 5 minutes per ticker. Okay, never mind. That's
sorry. I was actually Christmas shopping for you. I was thinking this is the new. I was gonna pick you up. This is the shirt. I like it.
I was like, dude, you had a tab open we weren't supposed to see, or
no. This is the new. Was this one, or I was thinking a sweatshirt for it, like just a regular sweatshirt. Are you like a black, or you like the non-hoodie sweatshirt?
Yes.
Black sweatshirt or white sweatshirt? What do you guys think? Black or white? White.
The only gains is cool enough that I'll wear it on any color.
Stop it.
No,
Really?
I think it's cool. Only gains. I like that as a concept.
I will actually buy this and ship it to you.
All right.
Too funny. All right. So this is where we are. So this is the box that SPY, I believe, wants to live in.
Jason, we got to get the
And oh my goodness, this is my fault.
Everyone gets mad at me when I say you have to put on the timer, but then if I don't say it, everyone's like, "Where's the timer?" So it's like I can't win.
True. Yeah. Don't give them a hard time. This is actually an important thing.
Yeah, it keeps us on pace.
It's not his fault. It's my aggressive ADHD. It's blame my parents, if anything. But so this red box here, this is the box that we live in. When I talked 2 weeks ago about these SMAs or smoothing moving averages, I wanted to be very clear about them not being like quote unquote support and resistance. It's a very big misnomer about like how these things act, and they act very much like magnets. Go back to our tech. Can I request a playlist of Technical Tuesdays? I mean, that's probably a lot of work, but I don't know if it's possible.
No, I could do it. I could do that.
Really? Okay. So like if we go back to TT 2 weeks ago and my explanation about SMAs and like they look on the onset, like outside of maybe they look like smoothing, moving, like support resistance. It's not really true. What it is, it's like it's magnets, and price gets attracted to them, and that's all that's happening over here. It's like a magnet gets sucked in like with the polarity, right? So pushed away or sucked back in, one of the two. And you can look at that by the near-term price action. And as we were coming back in, look, I'm like, hey, look, this is a MITS pattern. Not a top, it's a bottom, double bottom. And we were going to pop right back up. And I have a system that we've talked about for a long time called non-farm payroll. So here we are though, and we're going to push up a little bit. But once we go a little bit too far, I'm just saying that these SMAs, remember, they're still magnets, and I think price is going to get attracted back to them. And so what this sets up, I think, is for a little peak above, like peekaboo. Let's see what this looks like. And I think that we can open outside of this box tomorrow. But what's going to be important tomorrow is that we actually hold above, if we can hold above. And again, 2 weeks ago, what I always say, and any other Technical Tuesday, it's always about multiple closes and opens outside of these boxes, right? Outside of this range, specifically non-farm payroll days. And if we don't get this, then all we do is we expect to traverse this entire range in short order. And short order is a very specific number. This specific number is 2 to 3 trading sessions nearly every time. This is 1, 2, 3 trading sessions. It's always this or less. So if we can't do this, expect exactly that. Not joking. I don't expect to go any lower than that though, because if we don't, which I don't think we will, expect exactly that in 2 to 3 trading sessions as well. And this becomes the box that SPY lives in until we get one of these ranges to actually break. And that, I think, is the true story of where we're going. So in the near term, while it might feel, overly euphoric or gut-wrenching despair, one of those two, in either case, I don't think you really need to worry, quite frankly. I think that this could be a moment where, hey, look, there's possibly some good dollar cost averaging deals out there, moments. And definitely some Black Friday deals out there. Not everything looks bad. Some things look overstretched, some things don't. And I think the chart in reality tells us that, hey, this is a consolidation spot and everything is if this, then that. And right now, my read is, has been, and was that we're not going down yet. It's also, we're not going up yet. But again, everyone at the lows was positioned to take a big, nasty plunge to the downside. And here we are. If we can get any higher, again, a week or two ago, if we do get higher, then that 700 level on SPY is absolutely in the cards, nearly a foregone conclusion, basically going to happen. And you will know that at 685, just over 680, 683s actually. So just over 683, that's happening. 700 SPY end of year, done. Lock it in, but not before then. And for now, we have one more with these two levels, this little block of area to get through. So I would like to see SPY get at least to their next, and then their next, and then we are off to the races. But that's what needs to happen. And if these two things, 1, 2, can happen, that squeeze ensues. Until then, we have thoroughly poked the bears, and they're about to call for their reinforcements, and they're about to try to push the bulls down to the downside very soon. So be on guard. But the bulls have the edge right here and now, and the bears are about to lose their footing if we can push them any higher. So it's very close. There's a big pushback, and this is looking good for the bulls, but the battle's not over, and we don't want to get complacent.
I think that's very fair. And you kind of showed us that box, I think, on Friday as well.
Yeah, so, I will continue to show this box as long as SPY lives in this box. And once it's out, I'll show you where the next ones are. But for right now, here they are.
Okay. Let's do Meta, because if we don't, Chris is going to drive me crazy.
Really? 633 or 630?
He has 750.
Okay, so Chris is very much like
Chris is very much trying to get rich off this. I mean, he's already rich, but he might get really rich if Met. He brought naked calls at 600 strike. I'm curious what you think about the strategy expiring in 2 years, and then the TA on the name.
So leaps are very much about volatility. They actually have nothing to do with price. The value of options is based on the probability. Is this a 5 minute or 2.5?
A five. That's fine.
Okay. So options are based, option prices, the contract value of options are priced based on the probability of something expiring in the money, which has everything to do with volatility, has really nothing to do with the price of the asset today, especially when we're talking about something 2 years out. So that is completely dependent on IV percentile, if you will, which HV right now on the underline is 60 percentile, 60%. Anyways, current IV percentile 16. It's okay. It's okay. It was good in this small little pocket. So if he got them in that 680 or that 585 resting period when we were talking about this, what was building that kind of base, that's good. If you bought them today, it's not so good. It was not nearly as good as it was over here. That's what's true, because price probably changed a bit. But trending volatility is going to have to continue for him for that to even make any sense. And if it pulls back, I think it's fine. Other than that, he's going to have to look at intrinsic versus extrinsic value, and that's what it's going to come down to. So leaps are, let me simplify that. When you look at an option contract, specifically on a leap, and you look at Vega versus Delta in terms of the Greeks, Vega is higher than Delta, which means that it's more sensitive to volatility than it is to the price. That should probably be cleaner. Sorry, long-winded way of saying volatility is more important.
Do you think the 630 move today was constructive, or how are you interpreting 3%?
I think it was absolutely expected, and it has actually hit its full target, and that trade should be closed from a trading perspective. So the trade is here, literally here. So that fib, remember, 50%. So from the swing low to extreme low to extreme high, 2020 or April low 2025 to August 2025 high. When we lost that 633 low, this was a pivot that we've been talking about on this show. And we said, hey, look, you lose this 634 level, you have an extremely high probability of getting to what, chat? Chat probably knows. But again, if we had TT playlist, it's right here in all its glory. It's 585. And that's exactly what happened. Is 60, near 70%, just under 70% probability of that happening. It's a statistical edge. And the inverse is true as well. There it is, right? And the inverse is true, but it stops, right? And so the inverse is true is over that 618, 595, you should get right back to that 633. Now, these statistics do not change. And so that therein lies the problem. So that meaning that if this does not come back over 634, then you are going right back to 585, which is why this trade as a trader should be closed. And because that is a very clean risk to reward trade as a trader. Now, if you're mixing trading and investing, it's a totally different thing, but you need to see continuation, and you need to see another one of these up here. So you might get a little pullback. And for Chris, I think he has time to build into this position. As long as it holds within this range, he can see something like that, and that's fine. And so if I took this kind of general range, and what I would say now is say, expect some kind of pullback. And if this can hold within this box somewhere around the 600s, expect some consolidation in here. But again, still to this day, it's going to be at this point where those leaps actually get going. This is just like, okay, I could start to build a position, but they might bleed out on you because of that volatility. If and only if Meta can trend over 635, call it, that's when those leaps will start to pay, because this is also the point at which volatility will start to trend higher, not before. Down here, if this happens, then volatility is actually contracting still, and those would start to bleed out from a vol perspective. But otherwise, this is a very constructive bounce. Hopefully buyable on pullbacks, hopefully, but again, time will have to tell. For now, you guys kind of know what we're looking for. You're looking for this to hold over 635, expect some pullbacks, but again, trending over 635, this is on the mend definitively. And if it's on the mend, then you're looking at really what are you looking at? You're looking at 688 and up into this area as your next target.
Which wouldn't be that great. That was the price it was at the day of the earnings dip, from 750 to 688.
Yeah, so this would be your first target, and then same statistics. Sorry, I'm going to cut this here, but same statistics in terms of over 688. If you actually get there, then this box gets even smaller. You have one more tradable range that goes over to 720. So I think you said his strike was about in that area. So that is essentially his trade right there. So those things would need to stay true, but here are his ranges. And essentially the pathing could look like this here. These are your consolidation areas like that. Done. Next.
Nvidia.
Man, I really want to go back into this TT whatever. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be hard for me to do it, dude. TT tonight. Because you have all these timestamps. Nvidia.
You want me to pull it up and you want to watch?
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
I got it. Because you have it so clean. Here's Nvidia that we did last time. And I think I had this. Literally, this is pre-earnings. We're looking at it. We're like multiple times, boom, right? So there's what I drew. This is 2 weeks ago. Right here, up, down. This is just under 200. That's the bearish retracement. Here we are, just under 180. And I actually drew this potentially coming down slightly lower. So we're done with that. Let's go ahead and show you where we are. This right here. Oh, shoot. I forgot to stop that. That's what I drew, right? And this is that bearish retracement, which, by the way, was measured from this swing high to that swing low. This was that, like during the Mag 7 earnings, cool. We could get back up there, but you needed to hold above basically 200. This is your bear zone. Bears stepped in with a little bit of aggression. They sold off. And now we're actually having to deal with this. Oh, well, do I want to sell Nvidia to buy Google? Which I don't really know is something that you actually want to do. The dips are getting bought slightly, little by little, but they're not getting bought with strength to actually push it higher. And so here, 177 was that prior shelf that everybody was buying at. And today it kind of breached, but it's not really constructive today because, again, one more time, here's that level, and I'll just, make it a little bit. What was support is now starting to act like resistance. And then we can kind of see it here. Was support, support, support. When it acts like resistance, that's what it looks like. And so this is just one day, but this is what that kind of SR flip looks like. So S being support, R being resistance when it's below it. And here's your line in the sand, which is 177. Not a big deal right now. Again, one day does not make a trend. This lower level and this lower shelf, let me just take this off because it's not really needed, is in this lower area. So if you like it, I think this is it's, you know, below 170s or thereabouts. I'll get you the specific number right now.
We had 169 for literally 2 minutes today, less than that.
Yeah. Did you catch it?
I caught 170, not 169. But a bunch of people in the chat caught 169 this morning.
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you 164.04. So I don't know if that really holds. If you go back and you watch that link, and I when I looked at it again, and I was like, ooh, you know, I kind of swagged it, right? But this is a session gap. The truth of the matter is, if it gets ugly enough, the real support is this shelf right here, this area. And remember this volume piece right here. So if this is the mountain range, this is just depicting your traffic areas. Where does traffic, if price is the car that I'm driving, where are like my city centers that I need to drive through? Well, this whole area, this is called a low volume node or a low volume pocket. This is like an interstate highway here where I can speed through this section pretty quickly. So sometimes price can traverse this fairly quick. And so the lower level of this is in the 150s, but it'll tend to bounce and fill that in after a while. And it creates its own kind of new volume shelf. And so it's leaving that fair value. They call this fair value. So right now, 177 is what the market deems fair value is for Nvidia, just under 180. And then the next nearest spot is that 170 level. Now you could tell on the chart, it's not a huge, massive level. It's literally just this right here, which is what you bought today. And that aligns with these little things right here. So it's not broken. The very near term trend is broken, meaning just this little blip on the radar. And I say blip on the radar. Long term, all this is a blip on the Nvidia radar chart. So really not a big deal, especially if you have like a cost basis of like $5. Who cares? But it's possible if sentiment turns. It's not going to be a fundamental thing. They'll classify it as a fundamental thing, but really it's about sentiment. If the market sentiment turns, it's possible that you do get that quick, interstate move to traverse down into the 145s, 150s. But until this breaches 165, that's not actually in the cards. So for now, that area down to 165 is actually your dip buys. And that's what I would comfortably say right now. Because honestly, if this gets below 165, I kind of think that might be a little dumb. And I might pick that up. I would probably pick that up personally.
It would feel like there's a much more fundamental issue.
Yeah, at least I would have to look into it because I just don't see. I mean, then we would be talking about the rest of. Then we would be talking about SPY at 620s. That's what we would be. We would be at SPY 620. That's the situation that we would be in. And if we are in that situation, then that's where Nvidia will be.
Agreed. Okay, so let's do Google then. And I want your reaction as a technician to, I guess, just do you think it's overextended here?
Oh, overextended is on the day, it's you have what's called an exhaustion candle. So we have definitive signs of exhaustion on the day. I'll take some of these things down. So I took a short trade today, and it was Google. That was the only real like.
Jason, did you get 332? Did you get the top? Did you?
No. I mean, I'm honestly not that active as a day trader lately, like really not. But these are very simple, and it's not like, oh, we're gonna go, like it's not like that at all. It's just like, oh, okay, well, this is simply exhaustion. It's not that big of a deal. It's so. And by the way, I was like shocked at how expensive these like contracts are, like because I'm also like so maybe excessively long coming into today that I'm like, I really need to put in some more shorts on anyways, just because like I feel like I have too many longs. And Google, almost as dumb as it feels, like, because this is just such like the strongest stock in the market. It was just like, okay, well, this is the first day that I'm seeing any kind of sign of weakness. And so what I just did was I marked the pre-market high and I marked the pre-market low. And, while I do say after hours markets, it has nothing but lies and deceit for you. And that is true. Pre-market is completely different, and pre-market is the Euro session trading hours, and that is very real. Pre-market and after hours completely different, and we do use pre-market data to define your trades like on a very regular basis, and a continuation. Here's a perfect example. Like here's a continuation, pre-market high and pre-market low, sorry, and even here pre-market high. You can see just on a day-to-day basis, pre-market high extends, comes back, pulls in, acts as support, and you continue on your merry way. You absolutely use pre-market data every single day to see your continuation trades. And as a trader, whether you're a swing trader or a day trader, you can't be a good swing trader without knowing how to day trade, in my personal opinion. But that said, because you won't be able to see this. And simply stated otherwise, you lock a high in the early session hours and you close towards the lows. That's usually indicative of some kind of exhaustion at simplest terms. That said, we're not talking about reversal. That's not what I'm talking about. But this, what I did see was here is like, hey, look, to me, I'm thinking, all right, well, this extension. Also, 328 was completed from this consolidation. That's where my extension would have taken me to, as 328. That ends up being like a breach level, pulls back down. If this can get, and I'm showing near term, this is super like small data. If this gets back below 314, okay, cool. Well, then what we have is this $300 kind of price point, and you're basically going to be talking about retesting that general area, and that's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything else, and that's for trading perspective. But not until you get below. This is 314 and change. So from now, you can easily see a 314 pullback, which would be standard order. And you wouldn't even notice this as a Google investor. Like you literally would not notice this. But if it does pull back, maybe you'll notice a 295, 300, and you have a bit of a market inefficiency just around that $300 psychological level that it looks like it wants to at least try to fill in. And at that point, your 20-day simple is probably going to be coming in. But this is mostly about that polarity of these SMAs. Look, the other truth is that this is still in expansion mode. The 20-day and simple day and 20-day and 50-day, they're expanding. Like it's expanding. So there's nothing wrong with this chart. In very near term, yeah, it's a little stretched. So that just means come back down before you can make another wave. So that, if that's what you're talking about, that's all I see on this chart in simplest terms, which is really a nothing burger. But I do see that.
Okay. I think that is very fair. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of just wondering if 300 can turn into a real sense of support and normalize.
I mean, could you imagine? Like that's a big deal. The only thing I'm thinking of right now is like, okay, I get where we are in Google, but at the same time, the one thing that's sticking out in my head is if this is moving off of, if the rhetoric turns to, well, Google made this whole move off of Yeah, absolutely massive win for the Google. Massive win. If Google made this last push off of, if the rhetoric turns to, if this last push was about an LLM, well, I mean, quite frankly, LLMs in and of themselves are probably more commodities than anything else at the end of the day. So LLMs in and of themselves are probably not that valuable, but I don't really think but also it's not just LLM. So, but if the rhetoric or if the story turns to, well, it's just an LLM, then that would be really the only sentiment shift that I could see happening.
Right.
Right, next.
AMD.
AMD easy. So 195s was the level that we were looking at for a potential liquidity grab, a level that we were looking at for a potential liquidity grab. And then from here, 185, sorry. But what we did was we outlined what structure would need to look like, and structure would need to look like this. So step one, unfortunately, happens very fast. If it cannot get back over the 50-day, well, this is just not happening. Right now, also, we're holding that 50% retracement. I think this is a little too early to call anything. So I would still want to wait and see where we go from here. This 185 level is still kind of like an interesting spot, but it's also like where we are. I'm like, it's a little tough because like where we are is I want to give this one some time before I do anything with it, quite frankly. Where we are in the market is like, well, I'd want to see SPY and SMH probably holding over some key levels, not just broadening out, because still this is a bit of a high flyer. Yes, this is a good like near-term thing, but if the market turns, it's going to turn on AMD too, and this would still have a lot. This could see 160s if it loses 185. So if it loses 185, it's going to see the 160s, and I don't want to be jumping in prematurely. Remember that premature allocation is just not fun. So because of that, I'm more willing to wait for a few more days of structure. I do have some decent what we call wicks down here in this kind of retracement. So it looks okay. If the market can hold over those key levels that I highlighted earlier, I think this will be fine. But AMD has a lot of room up here. So even if so for me, I'm like, what's the difference between 195 and entering later? Like it's not that big of a deal to me. So for me, I'm happy to wait a little bit longer to let this head and shoulders kind of like, actually this head and shoulders I'm pretty sure is actually played out. So let me just, oh yeah, 185 is like a full doubling of that. So this 182, maybe 180. I mean, this is actually, dude, this is really interesting.
Well, 180 was
like the Microsoft chart.
180 was the breakout the day of the OpenAI deal. Okay.
Well, yeah, so what I'm doing right now is I'm pretending to be a bear, just pretending for just a minute, right? And so like if I'm pretending to be a bear and I see this as a head and shoulders, like my first target is literally right in here. I do have extensions as a bear down to 182. And if it loses 182 as a bear, I can push this down to 160. Those are technical extensions off of this head and shoulders patterns. And the reason why people like head and shoulders is because when it does play out, which 227 is that power shift line, and this is playing out as that, which I'm not a pattern trader, but I have to know them. To me, I'm a price action guy, which 227 was my key power shift anyways. And I got my levels a different way, but this is what they see. And what they see is this level. So if it really does hold over 203.50, for them, they actually do have to cover, and that 50-day simple probably continues to act as a magnet. My biggest thing is that the distance between those 20 and 50 are contracting. So this is going to get, it's a very small but violent push right in that 225. At that point, what was support, I can near guarantee you will act as resistance, and it will get pushed right back down. And I just don't want to have another heady shoulder, whatever thing pop up right in front of me. So for those reasons, I'm just kind of like steering clear from this right now.
I think that's fair. I think that is very fair on AMD. And I mean, 260 to, below 200 today has been ugly, but I agree. If we can support that level at 200, then that would be helpful. Amazon.
Oh, I still like Black Friday is coming this week, right?
That is true.
I mean, dude, I'm not going to lie. So not a chart that we're going to look at in the core tickers, but I bought this ticker today that I had to like close my eyes, plug my nose, and just like pretend I didn't buy it, but bought it. Just like, oh God. But I mean, it's just like I needed to do it. So we'll see. Did you see my post about the mall trade? You talked about it, the retail resurgence.
Yeah, we'll talk about retailers because I am curious kind of how you're thinking of that trade as well. But Amazon should do well with Black Friday.
Yeah. I think that we were all, well, so I say I know that you and I have been buying this dip on Amazon because she's Amazon. So we are positioned to capture this. I think we're good to go. So today actually closed above the 50-day. We're going 236. So I think that the setup here, if SPY peeks its little head right over the top of the box tomorrow morning, it could actually, remember, I still think that we're set up for a very violent move one way or the other. Tomorrow's open and maybe initial push through could look violent. It's going to be insanely low volume. So if there are a lot of buyers out there early, it's just going to run away. Is it going to be real though? Probably not. That's the other thing, because low liquidity environment. So Amazon though, I think could be real. I think this is 235s, dude. Like very short, like right in 235, 239s. So I'm positioned this. I'm actually in March calls also, because unlike Meta, I can go into my MEEPs, my mini leaps, my micro leaps, my 3 to 6 month options. I can just look at a chart like this and say, hey, look, for the last 100 days, the option chain thinks that Amazon has actually been $220, give or take, for the last 100 days. That's how the model works when you look at those 50+ day options. So that's how I would think about when you're looking at like a leap or something like that. You don't even need to go into a calculator. Just look at the chart. If it's been that price, let's say 50, 60 days ago or thereabouts, like, all right, it's probably a leap setup. Not, but anyways, so these are now cheap. Over here, when we were looking at them earlier, not so cheap. Over here, not so cheap because it had just come off a massive move. But here and now, after a whole lot of nothing, cheap, man. I like this. This is like Tesla 220 or whatever it was, getting ready for a bigger move. I like this now, not here. This is probably fine, but I like this after a better. And yeah, so I think this is a slow-ish grind. I like a lot of the fundamentals, and I like my Triceratops. She does me pretty well, usually. But it's a very specific pattern.
I mean, when it fell below 220 last week, it took away everything that we got from earnings and the run-up to earnings. So
yeah. But I'm not actually using that in my logic. What I will do is like, okay, so this, so I got a couple seconds here. Swing low, swing high. 237 is going to be the 20-day simple moving average. We're going to hit our head on that. We're probably going to stop like right there. And then we might come back a little bit, and we're probably going to hover around this 231 area. I would like to see us chop sideways for a bit, come back over, get over the 20-day, let the 50-day catch up, and my simple moving averages are going to look a little bit like this. And then I would like to see 240s, low 240s. And then at that point, my 20-day and my 50-day are going to be in expansion again. And then kablamo, once I get over this area, I'm like, whoop, right into the 245, 250 plus, very short order. This is pathing, by the way. So it's going to be whoop, 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 here, down, up, boom, like this. And then we are, in fact, actually talking about the rest of the extension, best case scenario. But we're still, like I said before, the chart was actually never broken, which is why I like the spot.
Right. I agree. And I don't think Amazon has a bad narrative on it either, especially now that AWS is back to growing. Ethereum.
Yeah, zoom out on a weekly level. You'll see it a little bit better. Did you see my post about Ethereum, dude?
I did not. What did you say?
Oh man, I'm trying so hard on Ethereum, like on my, what is it? I did like poking bears because okay, we need to go back to, do we have it? ETH.
We should have it.
Okay, this same one, this level here is 26. 2 weeks ago, look, TT pays. Is that what you call it? TT pays. This is 2 weeks ago at 31.28, whatever, the arrow. Can somebody screen cap this? What? Here it is. 2 weeks ago, we're up here. I'm like, this is where we're going. Very likely right into this little box. And I think it was like extremely explicit. Drew the whole thing out. This is what we're going to look for. That's actually what I'm still expecting. So we can get all the way up here, but we're in the chop zone. We want that 20-day to actually come back up to it. My little walkthrough is whatever. Where's my walkthrough? Here. Because it started last weekend. And I think these usually start on the weekend. So it's like this. ETH is going to bounce, but this is literally at that level. I think it was whatever it was. It was at 26.28, exactly same spot. It was the same spot, and the levels were. It's kind of like, hey, look, we're poking. It's entry while the bears are sleeping, and as we go up, we're going to be like taunting the bears. So 29.58, the bear has been poked, right? And I think that's actually where we got today. We can still get over here, but we have to know that we're poking the bears right now. And so where all these things come from, and we just poked them, we just got a little bit back, just pulled a little bit back. I'm going to take this. I'm going to make this a solid line for just a minute. I'm going to pull this back to a daily, and I'm going to try and speed this up just slightly, get this out of my way, and show you where all this stuff comes from one more time. But here's that measured move 628 right here. That also comes from what we call like a low volume pocket, just like we do for everything else. 26.28, smack, boom. This box, by the way, that's the same box that we just drew on that last TT segment 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So here we are. We're coming up. 31.66 is that from a statistical perspective. When we get up over, this is like meta. We should be able to get to 31.66 eventually. Now, crypto tomorrow night is very much about, not tomorrow night. Guys, this is going to be up to you guys. So my plea to the audience and to whoever's watching right now, Thursday night, if you live in the US, you're going to be around all your friends and family. And the topic of crypto is going to come up around everyone. Don't listen to Amit. He's going to think that nothing's going to happen. What happens is that every Thanksgiving is that crypto shows its true colors. And And when people ask you about crypto, you're going to have an opportunity to say it's a huge disappointment or it's a buy of a lifetime. And in this moment, in that very specific moment, you are going to determine the future of the cryptoverse. I'm just telling you right now, this is how it's going to be. So there you have it. It's going to be a low liquidity environment. It might not be about that day, but it will be about how that day is digested moving forward. And it does come up every single time because it's just what happens, right? You don't see people for a while, but it is usually a topic. Now, do we run into the topic? Do we run in like to it? I don't know, right? But just like that chart was, we have to get over the 20-day simple. This might end in like, gut-wrenching despair. But what I will say is as long as we can hold 2750 in the very near term, it's actually okay. So I wouldn't say, hey, look, the party's over. The party's over here now. If we lose that 2600, this moment in time party is over. And this whole bounce actually sets up for a bigger liquidity grab lower. That I'm going to say that if we can't
You're bearish.
No, I'm bullish. If we can't, but I need the bulls to come out and play because we're poking the bears right now. And if we can't get through the basic levels, then it's going to be for naught, right? So it needs the momentum. It's going to show up soon. I'm out of time. We can easily get up to 3166. And if we can open up next week over 3166, all the bears they're going to open up on Monday completely off guard. They're going to have to instantly cover their shorts and it's just going to be up and to the right from there. But if that doesn't happen, then they still have a lot of fight in them.
Okay. That BMNR, I guess, I mean, it's similar to
I think it's fine. It could still pull back though. And same thing. So, but the trajectory is just to this, it's to this 3,500. So the basic consolidation is 3,500 just to cap this off on ETH. That is the top, that is this consolidation. Because at the end of the day, we're still in a consolidation. And we hit like real resistance. It's not that we're out of the weeds. There's a lot of work to do, but just capping it off. BMNR, I think you can pull back a little bit, but just like today, I think that you'd still want to see early dips get bought. That's pretty important. That's a good characteristic in the market, unlike a Google. So BMNR characteristic quickly got bought. It's on the 200-day simple. It's okay. It did not extend. This is the first time I'm looking at it. Close at the lows. The dips were getting bought right here at that 27. I'm okay with that. I'm just okay with that. If it doesn't, then we probably see 27s. I'm actually still okay with this. So I'm okay with this, but I want to see a quick pop higher. And I'm definitely okay if this happens in the after hours, but I do not want to see below 26 and a half, right? 26 and a half was that session gap. And that was, it's 26.16 is and was that kind of power shift. If you lose this, then you're going to lose a whole lot of people that just entered, myself included. And that's going to set up for a $20 flusher. But I don't think you're going to lose them because I'm going to hold on for dear life as long as I can.
Okay.
Tessie, I think no change from the last time. I think 415 is still a level. I think that this kind of hits its head. We moved a little faster on this. Was that BMNR / whatever combined?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of ETH is BMNR adjacent, so.
Okay. Are you a bull or a bear?
I mean, I'm holding on, so I'm a bull. But I agree with you. I think there could be that liquidity gap you were talking about, especially during times like Thanksgiving. And
did you like my plea? This is my plea to the.
You're right. When the family gets together, crypto comes up as the conversation.
It comes up. It's weird. And maybe and if it doesn't happen Thanksgiving, listen, you guys will have another shot on Christmas. But this is why it's the eating season. It's not because we're eating food. It's because because the market is a mirror reflection of social sentiment, and these are the moments where we actually it's define social sentiment. So we said 390s. Amit had another opportunity to buy, and he probably didn't. Again, I don't know if he did or did. Did you buy it?
I definitely did not.
I definitely did. I definitely did not text him either. And it's still holding. So not his fault, but it doesn't matter because he doesn't buy anything when I text him anyway. So there's that too. But we have not lost this lower trend line and this upper prevailing trend, if you will. So this is still the danger zone. It's actually respecting it pretty decently. We are still doing this SR flip. So this is still resistance, even though it's peeking its head up just a little bit. I would not. So this remains in consolidation. I think what you can do here is that you can probably pretty quickly take those two tops and say, there she is. Actually, I like the look of this one, and say, at best case scenario, this becomes a new consolidation like that. Because by the way, this right here, this little area is heavy traffic zone. You'll see it right there. So even if 415 is the big power shift that comes from over here, and it's trying to get over, but it's still hitting its head over that. And this is the next one, which is in very close proximity. So even if it does pop over here, it's still trapped a bit, and but like I said, it's still holding the prevailing uptrend. And so really, this is setting up potentially for a very nice consolidation, primed for some premium selling, like upside calls, still around that 450 upper wick kind of area, or even over 420s, anything in here. But once this is done consolidating, this is another big move brewing, but you're going to need to be very patient here. It's not even close to time on this one. When she's ready, she's going to be ready, but you don't want to jump in front of this freight train, because when she goes, she goes quick, and she goes like boom, in a less than a month, you're talking like 40% move sometimes on Tessie. But I'll let you guys know as long as I'm around. And it's not time yet. She's still in this consolidation, so that actually sets up better for any option traders out there, which we're not talking about. But let this IV kind of come in, because that's all that's happening. It's just burning off some extra steam that it had built up from before.
We got a headline right here, folks. White House: Trump is not considering a straight 2-year subsidy extension. Will make recommendations for healthcare policy improvements in the near future. Is Oscar pumping or dumping on this? Oscar is dumping on this. All right, down 7%. There you go. So the subsidies
still
are
higher than it was that 2 weeks ago, or last Tuesday, Friday.
Yeah, it's better than 13.
I mean, this is Friday. It was still. I should have just slapped the buy right there on that Friday. This is $13. That's the level.
Dude, we did a deep dive on the channel at $12, but I've always been so hesitant because I don't understand healthcare policy. So I've just told myself I'm not going to touch it. But
some of these things are just like, I guess it depends, right? Some things you just take, you have to define your price. How much are you willing to put into a drawer and shove it away? You will probably say, I think for a lot of people, it's $10,000. When you're older, it's $10,000, and I can take $10,000 and I can put 10 grand in the drawer, close the drawer, kind of lock the key, throw it away, forget that I own it, and maybe check in a few years. And, it's not in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot over a lifetime, but you hit 1 out of 10 and you pay for 20 of them sometimes or more.
SOFI.
Dude, 24s, there it is. It actually got a little deeper than 24, 23 and a half. So I was thinking 24s. Looks like that was just to open below 24 and insta bought up on that Friday open. And here we are. So we're right back. Also back to that resistance level. So, I mean, this is just like the rest of the market. I don't need 5 minutes on this one because this is like a real reflection of SPY, right? Even though it has nothing to do with SPY, but where this one sits is exactly like the rest of the market, right? So we just got over that last little hurdle, right? Which is on SOFI 2784. We should get to like a small little blip on the radar, 2880, and that's maybe where we open tomorrow. But we might open straight away right into the bear's den, and it's just gonna be a question of whether or not they're awake. I feel like we're kind of like playing capture the flag right now. Like we've snuck through like the front lines, and we've gotten through, and I'm almost there. I'm in enemy. We're in enemy territory right now. It's like, do I make this final push? Because if I can get through the next level, it's like we have like a free. It's very much like that. If you can get through this next level here, like you have this entire right like range to get through, and you're just like, you're like boom, and then the rocket, whatever, and then you have the moon. You go to the moon. Where's your cow? This is a rocket. Rocket is rocket. I don't know how to draw a rocket, but it's this. It's like you get over this and it's like you just get through this one little last blip of enemy territory and you're like, boom. But we're going to open like straight away into bear territory.
Your drawing is as bad as my pronunciation.
Don't comment.
That's not even a rocket. I don't know what that was.
How do you draw a rocket?
I don't know, but you don't know either.
I think you start at the bottom. There's my flames.
A little bit better than whatever you drew 10 minutes ago.
There's my rocket. We just cannot draw the top.
Okay, so bullish SoFi.
Hey, look, guys, I don't practice a rocket drawing.
What are we thinking about HUD? Because we did, I mean, even with crypto,
I have pretty clean like thoughts on HUD.
Okay, so what do you think?
So I mean, just because where we are. So I think that. So first of all, we have to see structure, and so I think structure is we're far away from seeing structure. That's for sure. The spot that we got to was the first time that we got to this area in a long time. I think it was important, right? The next level, which is what we literally just hit our heads on right now, super important. We're going to have to get through this level of defense. And again, tomorrow morning or tomorrow at some point, probably midday, we might have like a real heavy meet and greet with the bears. It's going to be like real wild. That's like around 120. And this is the point where like, okay, I expect to get clapped. I really do. But at that point, what I want to see is I want to see this pullback, and then I want to see another breach. I want to see another press later. And then I'm going to need to see this structure just like that appear. Because right now, where we are is that we have like a little descending channel that we've touched. If your channel gets demonetized for my drawing, I'm just really sorry, dude. It was not on purpose.
I hope not. The thing about HUD that's been exciting to me is that crypto's been dumping, but HUD's still holding 110, 110.
Oh, yeah. Like, dude, I mean, what are you going to do? It's the greatest stock in the world. But so not out of the weeds yet. But this little blip here on the radar, it's a good spot. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. So I need to get up to that 120 level, maybe even 125. 125 would be great. Put is like one of those wild stocks where it can be 125 tomorrow in the first 10, 15 minutes. Like it really can. Same with Palantir. We should do that in when's next. I think it could be 170 tomorrow. Not a joke. But where does it go from there? Does it get slapped? How hard does it get slapped? And then where does it hold? That, I think, is what it's all about. So I want to see exactly this. It's really about this. Okay, we've gotten that break right here. I want to see this one break, clean break like that. And then I want to see one higher low and a second higher low lock in after 1, 2, 3 higher highs. And then I can really probably load up right on this one and press longer into my longs. Until then, here and now, last week I said, like, straddle, like, not like callers are your friends. Again, until then, here and now, this 125, if I see this 125, it's probably not a horrible spot to start thinking about a caller, costless caller of some sort through the end of the year, just in case.
Okay.
And you can probably get pretty good premiums on something like that.
Palantir.
What's the nickname?
Pilly. Pilly's always been the nickname.
Pilly?
Yep. If you're like in the community, we call it Pilly. And Pete, have you ever heard PTFB?
PTSD?
No, dude. STD. What are you doing? You're drawing.
I said PTSD.
No, PTFB. Pilly the fucking best.
No.
Like the thing in the community.
Oh. So here's a channel on Pilly, but downside channel. It's got bought real heavy 140s here. So remember this cohort of buyers stepped in actually pretty heavy again today, by the way. I even traded this one today. Palantir is acting very well. I will say this, acting right. Unlike in the past, sometimes like this volatility was so crazy. Things have calmed down. She's pretty cool, collected, and has a lot of structure to her as from a stock perspective right now. So it's very orderly moves, quite frankly. Even though this is like heavy, look at this. Pulls back. I mean, does it get any more perfect than that? Not really. This is what we call a breakout retest. Boom. That's textbook. Textbook breakout retest. So when I say like orderly acting right, that's the beginnings of real structure. That's real structure right there. And so that's very constructive, my dude. So what I want to see is a very similar thing show up right around here. And so when we saw this over here, I can see this little dip come in one more time, but I want to see a push actually, and I want to see, Pilly get smacked right in the face. I would be delighted to see that happen. Not because that's what should happen, but because this is the beginnings of structure. And then I want to see this act right one more time and get bought up one more time. And this moment right here would be one more higher high, one more higher low. And in this instance, at that moment in time, she would, in that moment, break out of that down channel. And if it can get even slightly higher, break through here, do it one more time. Not that one. If you could do it. So this is structure building. One more time. That becomes a really big moment. So this whole thing, what I'm seeing, even if it's not immediate, this is very healthy. That's a very solid structure, solid base. That's a very good tell, at least for the near term. I like this. That's a clean buy. So it gets I guess we get to see what kind of buy is it, and then are they continuing this tomorrow, or is it another retest tomorrow? Because if it's another retest tomorrow, fine, it does it again. But even in that situation, like all of a sudden, what was the lower resistance down here, or support, sorry, this little area, this was resistance before. Like that was getting rejected. That was getting rejected. Down, down, down. And then all of a sudden, boom, that resistance turned in support, heavy support. And so now this whole green section, Christmas, I want, even if it gets tested, I would like to see that turn into support and then higher, higher, higher. And that is structure, ideally. So heavy watch, and she's acting right.
It got to its lowest level since the August drawdown at like 147. So I think the bounce off that, I agree, was pretty.
So this is the tell, right? So it's about 158. If that doesn't happen, so I don't want to blow smoke. Just all that to say, if it doesn't happen, it's going to look like this. It'll bounce again, and if this locks a lower high and this ends up being a rejection level, it's going to keep doing this. And eventually, if these guys give up, it's going to look like this, and then you're looking like that, and it's just going to be in this downward channel. Just remember, if this, then that. So if this does not break out, then there is another level, which is here. But for all intents and purposes, right now, this level looks good, and I think we should give it some. I think you respect the levels, and until this level is broken. No, I don't think you expect it to go lower, because right now this level looks very good. All right, next.
Okay, we have a couple more to do on our mains, and then we'll get into the rapid fire Rocket Lab.
How did it do today? I didn't see it.
I think it was flat.
Hey, my 38 buy is still holding. That's all I know. I didn't put a stop loss on that. Do you put a stop loss? I don't know. What's a stop loss? I kid. No, 38 is good. And actually, yeah, so just like this area, now I want to see what it did over here. Again, so I think we pop up tomorrow morning. A lot of these things might look really green, but it's after tomorrow. So half day tomorrow. I should probably close with this, but it's basically going to be a half day tomorrow. Tomorrow by noon, listen, this market is going to be crickets. I know it's a full day technically, but we might push up, but all the liquidity is going to get dried up by the afternoon. Whatever happens. And then half day on Friday. But from there, I want to see this 42 level where Matt has all his buys, right? I think it's 42.
47.
No, those are your buys.
I didn't buy a 42, but I know he bought a 47. I'm pretty sure he bought around these low 40s.
Anyways,
as well.
I want to see Matt's orders start coming in, just like they have in the past, in that little orange box.
Do you think the 70 reversal? I mean, or do you think the path to 70 again is in place, or that's gone?
Path to 70, is it in place?
Like was 70 just like a high beta move, or is that real?
So the truth of this is that we'll have to talk about it when we get there, if we get there, and how structure looks, because we're not there right now. And in truth, if this were to get even close to that 56 right here, you have a whole nother issue to deal with, because you get here, you're going to be retesting this broken uptrend. I think that's very likely. And if you start to consolidate and then you get weak, then you have a different issue. But from here to here, it's tradable, because I'm a trader, but this looks tradable. again, from here to here, I have to make some real like decisions. We have this area to get through. We're a long ways away from being able to, that's like saying like, is the bottom in or is the top in? And there's many things that can happen in between now and then. Low float stock, one headline can push this one way or the other, but constructive here and now, I think really to look at this from that perspective, you have to be on a much higher time frame, like minimum monthly, and you probably don't want to be messing around with those smaller charts like I just did. And it's going to be all about reclaiming. Oh, dude. So 60 is definitely in the cards as long as you're over 50. So it's going to be here. I think you get to 50. Here, from here to 50 is pretty basic. That's where this is. Weekly scale. Look, we're here to 50. I think is this is where I am, dude. Here to 50 is pretty basic, near layup. I hate to say that, but it's like a layup. But once you get to 50, that's a different story. Then you have real work to do. This is like, hey, look, you can have a pretty solid pop. Over 50, look, then we're going to be talking about 54s. It's going to get a smaller moves. They're going to be smaller moves. If you can get over 54, okay, then we can talk. You're probably going to 55, and there's small chunks at this point. And then you can talk about 65. But that is how that has to look. And the news flow and the sentiment of the market as a whole has to be in line. And we're pretty far away from that to be even talking about that just yet. But for now, what I know to be definitive is that we're not going lower, and that's good. And if we're going below, if we're below 37s, then we are, but we're not, and we're going to bounce, and that's the story today.
Nebius.
Nebius. Right?
Yo, I've heard nebulous. I think Jensen calls it Nebius. So
well, Jensen knows how to say it.
I like this stock. The more and more I learn about it, dude. I really do. Well, I should say the company. I really do.
Because you've been diversifying outside the US.
Well, Nebius,
you know that, right?
Yeah, but I don't think.
Are you doing that intentionally?
Not really. I mean, there's plenty of Meta's cheap, Micro, like a lot of these names are getting cheap in the US. I just liking certain opportunities outside of it. But I don't even think of them as an international brand. I just think of them as very diversified.
Yeah, but that's right. You are leaving us, though. I forgot about that.
What do you say?
You were leaving us. I forgot. You're going out. You're going away out of the US.
Going where?
I don't know. Didn't you say you were going to travel the world and you have so much to see or something?
I never travel the world. How do I do my show if I'm traveling the world? Like, it's
dude, you do your show like you can do your show from anywhere. You're going to do your show.
Oh, dude, the time difference is going to be. It can't go to Southeast Asia and expect to consistently do the show. It's not possible.
Okay, so 94 and a half. It's still the same level, 95s, right? If we can get over that, then I mean, small little chunks, but we are indeed far away from these upper SMAs. It's still where it is. It actually hasn't gone anywhere. It's smack in the middle of that reversal day. So the first reversal day was this day. And this reversal day is actually the day that I'm talking about. Look at how it's done. Everybody's so dirty. He's got a fake, but at the end of the day, it's like it's still here. So it's right in the middle of the battle. So I think it's still in consolidation. That's where Nebius is. You still want to see those full day opens and closes above or below. the thing about this, by the way, is a daily candlestick chart. And what you're looking at here is not a full open and close above or below. Just you're looking for 2 to 3. You're looking at an open below and a close above. You're looking at a open above and a close deeply below. So you're not looking at, that's not what you have here. What you have here is technically a reversal week. If I swap this to a weekly, you have a week that got bought up, and it's what do you call this? A battle week, an entire battle week that went boom and kind of closed flat. So this is a very big range, and it's tightening right now. So you're coiling. I think you got to give this some more time. It's still at the same level. The battle zones are hard lines in the sand. It's not really going down unless it's below 76 3/4, 76, 75. The tradable ranges on Nebius are like, hey, look, this is going lower if you lose that 76, 75, but not before then. Before then, you're in support, which is where you would want to buy, support being up here. And so you want to be in accumulation phase, like accumulation mentality in this general area, not slightly below. And then it's like, I'm going to buy this down here. And this is like slow accumulation. If you see something ridiculous, I'm going to buy this. But otherwise your trend does not resume until you're fully back above this area. So yeah, you want to wait a little bit till it starts to show a little bit more life. This is just consolidating. So
all right, couple things real quick, and then we'll get back into TA. We do have 2 headlines. Apparently Dell announced a deeper partnership with IREN. IREN's not moving after hours, but Dell is. Dell tends to say
is
a
it
lot
100?
More. It's at 132.
Ooh.
Yeah, 132.70.
Oh, sorry.
On the earnings calls, Dell tends to give a lot more details on this stuff. TSSI, which is one of their major suppliers, took a 40% haircut last week. That stock's up 12% after hours.
Dell, I think, is going to be a big market tell tomorrow morning. I think this stock is going to be a big deal. So I'm personally going to be watching it because you remember Dell, they pre-announced their earnings. It was like, hey, we're doubling everything.
Yep.
And then they got hit with like the quintuple downgrade because, HBM or whatever is going to be expensive. How are their margins, by the way?
I didn't see that, but they did guide for it to be higher, at least on a EBITDA basis.
Well, I think that when the market actually opens, since after hours doesn't really tell us a whole lot. It's a very thinly traded market. But when the New York session opens, we'll see the true colors of whatever this is. And if in fact, the margins were better than feared after all of these downgrades and the damage that those downgrades did to this stock after the massive guide that this company did, this thing is down over 30-something% from 170 to 115 in 17 days. That's huge, right? Over what? Over after like guiding higher and a couple analysts saying that their margins aren't going to be so good. I haven't seen the numbers. So whatever it was, when the New York session opens tomorrow morning, this is going to say what the appetite is for the AI trade. And so I think that this one stock is going to be a pretty big tell for the broader complex in the morning, just me personally. So I think it'll be a sentiment tell overall, just like A&F was a sentiment tell, I think, for some of the retail stuff.
I agree. And then you had another announcement. Apparently Robinhood's acquiring a new company. Robinhood extends its prediction markets offering a new joint venture in partnership with Susquehanna Group, which is one of the largest market makers in the world, to operate CFTC licensed exchange and clearing houses. The independent exchange will be managed by a joint venture with Robinhood Markets, serving as the controlling partner and provide strong retail demand and distribution. Market making leader Susquehanna Group also known as SIG, has been brought on as a key partner and day one liquidity provider. Prediction markets have become Robinhood's fastest growing product. Just 1 year since launch, 9 billion contracts have been traded by more than 1 million customers. And the VP and general managers of futures at Robinhood said, Robinhood is seeing strong customer demand for prediction markets, and we're excited to build on that momentum. Our investment in infrastructure will position us to deliver an even better experience and more innovative products for our customers. I think 2 things. Number one, Jason was 1,000% right 4 months ago when he said prediction markets are going to grow like crazy.
Did I just get a acknowledge? Wow. You guys.
First of all, I acknowledge
he
a
never
lot.
gives me this stuff. He gives everybody else kudos. I never get them. Like I just got. Can I get them? I need screen like animations, the parade, the cookies. Like, hold on, what just happened?
No, but Jason did say when this came out, I was a bit more skeptical on how prediction markets would scale, and I think you started using them. Like now I'm starting to play with them, but you used them immediately, and you're like, no, this is it. This is going to win.
Yeah.
It's winning. That's why they're getting a second liquidity provider outside of just the traditional ones that are scaling like Kalshi. Number 2, I think they're trying to get off Kalshi. I don't think it's going to happen today, but I think they're trying to stop splitting the VIG with Kalshi, and they're like telling you
it's not even a
VIG
VIG like you would think about a VIG, but yeah, I think Kalshi is like I don't know. I think Kalshi doesn't have the same vision either. Right.
Kalshi is just the marketing company. What have they done that's proprietary? It's been.
That's what I'm saying. Like they don't have the same vision. I just, dude, there are 2 companies out there that just are built different. I can't really think. As Grab's nice, but like, there's 2 companies in the entire stock market that are just special. You know what I mean? Like they're just special. To me, that's just me. But,
no, I agree. This is a big deal, and it looks like I think that's why the stock was actually up today. I mean, the market probably knew there was going to be some level of announcement on prediction markets and giving them a little bit of a premium here. Okay, cool. So I think that's pretty much the main tickers. We can get into audience requests now. Please do not spam the ticker. We can get to 2 minutes and 30 on the
somebody said Celsius. I did say Celsius. I bought Celsius today. Equity. I looked at options. Yeah, because
with Celsius. Let's do it.
Well, again, because TT pays. I don't know if it's the same one. Nope. A different one. Dude, I'm just saying, like, you know how much we should have a TT playlist, but anyways, like I bet people would make money. But this was the spot. So I said I would buy it. I said I would be a shareholder if it got there. And it got there today. And specifically, it's not a big one, but this is what I like to see. And what I like to see, I like to use a 30-minute chart. It's just my general analysis chart. But what I really like to see is I like to see those lows really lock in at the beginning, early parts of the day. And I like to see that like close towards the highs. Celsius specifically, dude, I mean, there was like zero weakness, zero weakness on the day. Just boom, hold, continuation. So I'm like, boom, all right. I said I would, and like all of this, I think I was just like a knee jerk. I'm in, done. I looked at options, didn't see anything, to equity buy. So there you have it. Didn't have to snipe the lows, wasn't about that, but it is my level. There it is. Trading stop would just be $37. Done and done. I have one more. Can I do it? Microsoft. One more personal pick.
Yeah.
So Microsoft, I posted about this too. I tried a little AI shenanigans, doesn't really work, but Microsoft, bit of a double toppy, whoppy, whatever. I don't know. It's not quite. It's double top-ish, which is the opposite. If you're not familiar of the double bottom, it's just inverted. Essentially, what these do, it's like, hey, look, when you take kind of like that, I call it a power shift line, but the center line, and you double it, wherever that is, from here, right where it broke down, and double it, this becomes pattern complete, right? Like what's that, ghostwriter pattern complete. And this pattern completed happened to complete at did this pause at like a very weird, oddly critical level, which is also very unique, but lends to a possible violent bounce. It's just such a very unique spot. People like to knock on Microsoft. The truth is that Microsoft usually gives you a couple $100 a year if you buy it at the right time. And it's usually like right around now. And so this, I went ahead and did my little DCA right off so the pattern, the double top extension completed exactly at the 200-day simple moving average and 2024 all-time highs, like very rare occurrence. And when I zoom in, and I'll just do it for you, like I was talking about earlier, what I really like to see is these kind of reversal days, these days that start off like kind of red, like that, and just like that nebulous moment when you see those buyers step in, early, and it closes on the highs. These are good. And so literally at this moment, since it was already on my radar, I'm in, like literally that exact moment. I like to see that breach. And then the second it comes back over, boom, I'm in. And I think that this actually can have some sense of legs to it, and potentially get into those 480, 490s, at least very near term. This one I don't think it has not bounced, like not a bit. I still like the fundies on this, fundamental, sorry. But also where, hey, look, it's a general DCA spot. It can go lower, but if you don't own it, I think it was actually a decent pickup. And I'll just do this one more confluence. It can go slightly lower, but I don't know that I'm necessarily going to get it. But yeah, this was a good, at least, bounce spot to retest, at least in here. And then we'll see. All right. Audience requests, go.
Okay. And again, guys, please just do not spam. I see every ticker. I'm going to try to get through as many as possible. We got another hour 15 left, so we'll try to get all of these in. Oracle. I know you don't like this one, and the market doesn't like it either.
I mean, it had some relative bouncing this morning. It's similar, right? Like open, like bright red. Here's that kind of power shift line. So it has the same kind of setup. It just doesn't close like at the highs, which is still not bad. So Oracle, I think, can bounce again. It's just like how far, right? Like it has to get over that 200. And if it can get over 200, then I think you can get to 216. And that's it. Then at 216, then 228. And that's it. I don't see any. It's deep. It's deep. The reason I'm not saying that this is any kind of like, so I don't like this because I don't have a break of structure really, like, or like I have a lot of lows, like lower highs and lower lows here. I have a massive deep breach here, and I still have room to 175s to fill this earnings gap over here. So while I do think that this could actually bounce, maybe even tomorrow, I just don't know that. I just don't think it would be a sustained bounce. So it's more like a day trader, like a blip on the radar, and not necessarily ready on the charts unless I see something. Now, I'm trying, really trying I see this. So, I mean, maybe, but it's like day one. I don't have any confluence. I just don't have any confluence here as to why that's going to be a big level. Unlike at least Microsoft, where I've a couple points of confluence. I don't have that same thing to take like a convincing shot here from a swing trading perspective or a longer term perspective. I don't think so, unless I'm missing something.
Okay.
Yeah, over 204. Over 204. Okay, we can talk, but it's got to get over that. Good.
APLD. This is Applied Digital. This one also got sold off with the data center plays last week as well.
So some good, some bad. I still think high flyers get it taken on the chin. This actually looks like consolidation. This could go either way. I think, dude, make sure I yell at me too if I don't hit that stupid.
Oh, if I
button.
yell at you, they get mad. I can't yell at you.
No, why not? So this is like it depends on your time horizon. These kind of charts very much depends on your time horizon. So I can see like a small bounce coming. To me, this bounce here is not worth it, like not worth the trouble, because I could get into a lot of trouble personally. This is a dangerous small bounce. Like I could get slapped at either 24, 28 or I could get slapped real hard right here. And then this could be in like imminent danger. So I would want to see like clean volume. And this is a low float company. So I would want to see this trending over 26. And again, it's just not my style of trading, because this would be, I'm assuming this would be an equity trader, because this thing, I think the daily range on something like this is like a large percentage, which I'd have to go in the weeds on something like this, but like, what is the ADR on something like this? $3. Yeah, so this average daily range is over 10%. So this thing moves over 10% per day. So you're a day trader on equity here. So for that reason, I don't usually trade these things. So I don't really have a good sense of their personalities. But just looking at this chart, that I would wait for something like that, because otherwise I could get slapped really hard right in here and be right at $17 very quickly.
CIFR.
CIFR. So if the data center stuff and the sentiment goes, this is right back on. I think this one took it on the chin. I mean, decently. I say decently, and I know that this is 50%. I don't know that that's it for something like this, because you got, 50% sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about a stock that's up 700% in a few months, it's not that much. So if this gets over that same kind of level, these are the same kind of setups, dude. So this whole thing is set up where like we can see $20, just under $20 quickly in the morning. But you're going to have to be very cautious literally at this moment. And the higher that you go, the more cautious that you have to be, because you're just poking the bears more and more and more. And you're not out of the weeds until you're like at all-time highs because all of this is like dangerous. The higher you go, the more danger you are in. Let me see. Who was asking for CIFR? Was this one of my guys asking for CIFR?
I don't know, but this is a heavily traded.
Our guys trade this all the time, dude.
Yeah.
So
a lot of volatility in these names.
So I don't have I have this up to $19.12. So if you can get over $19.12, then I can see this at $20, at most $21, but that's it. But this is more like a quick in and out because again, this is another over 10% daily mover on equity. Very violent mover. If you thought Hoodie moved a lot, you thought Palantir moved a lot. Think again. These are crazy movers, not for the faint of heart. They're basically penny stocks, but are more than a penny. Next,
IREN.
Another one of the same. So you might as well look at the same company, dude. So same thing. Personality here. No more data center stocks. So this one,
I heard him. I didn't say it.
Well, these are all going to be about sentiment, right?
Dude,
so
I default to you. I'm just letting the chat.
No. I'm just telling them. So it's very important to know, like, this is all going to be about, like, if the market.
I'm just a man of the people.
Okay? I know, man, and I'm rooting for the people, but it doesn't matter if it's IREN or CIFR. If CIFR goes, IREN's going. If IREN goes, CIFR is going. So they might look slightly different, but these, like, it's like this. If SPY goes, QQQ is going. If QQQ goes, SMH is going. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to chart them all very differently.
You can intellectually theorize it as much as you want. You're going to piss people off because you're not doing any more data center stocks, but it's you, not me. That's all I want everyone to know. It's him, not me. That's all. No, I agree with you, but I'm not the one saying it.
So IREN has a little bit more value here, but I just hope it doesn't have like this MSTR type thing, since I have a minute left still. So I was able to do my rant. You don't want to see this get below this thing, like this 45. It's okay. It's had the pullback, If it can't hold literally this, whatever this blip is, I think it's 42, she's not going to hold. It's not the lows on this. It's literally that 43. And it's, so the high flyer here, I would have liked to see more, almost like it's almost like BMNR were like, dude, so BMNR had a 20% day. It held. And then what was BMR down today? I don't know. Anyways, I don't want to talk too much, but if it can pull back, and I can expect, because again, $6.50 average move, dude, that's over 10%. So a pullback like this should absolutely be expected, but you need to see this, because if it doesn't, that's what you should also expect. And you may not, I can tell you this, but you may not be able to react fast enough, because that can happen in 5 minutes flat on a stock like this. And if it can get over 59, it's 65. That is IREN.
Okay. Tempest.
This
was a goated trade by Nancy this year. She bought it at freaking 25.
I thought Google was.
Well, that too, but
so Tempest is like biotech AI, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's biotech, but it's more healthcare AI, I would say.
So I kind of feel like this is like maybe. Can you do a deep dive on this?
I can. It's not. I mean,
can I request a Substack?
I mean, if people really want a Tempest, we can look at. I just feel like.
Listen, dude. So if the market breadth is going to widen, I feel like this might be. Okay, I'm going to. Can I tip into? I'm gonna do one after this. I'm picking one after this. So this actually looks good. This actually looks really constructive. It actually just breached the 20-day SMA. I think that dips might be viable here. Like might be actually longer term viable here because this trend is fully intact. Even though there was a big pullback here, this is a big pullback. It's in the right space. It's a 40% pullback. This is in the right space of the market where the breadth is widening. It's over the 200-day simple. It's actually today just hitting the 20-day simple, like right overhead. I think you can get, you don't need to be in a rush, but as long as this can hold over 60, this whole thing is going to be looking like one of Amit's like Starbucks cups, and you probably want to be patient, but that could be looking like a little steamy after a while. So I really don't hate this setup, but it's one where I would be actually pretty patient because if this happens, like these SMAs are probably going to get really tight, and that is, I think, a longer term opportunity, not a short term opportunity, really. That requires a lot of fundamental analysis and some broader work here. But for now, if it can get over 75, you're actually well over this volume shelf, which is a big deal. All over that, held. Very strong base, held. From here, you can actually get all the way up to 85s. Expect some kind of pullback that's just slightly breaching. Expect some consolidation to really fill in this low volume pocket and kind of bring essentially this point of control up higher, and then eventually take that higher. But all that said, that's a very long time out. So I think you have time, but this looks constructive. Okay. My pick.
ASTS. Oh, wait, sorry. Yours, yeah.
So reason, Regeneron.
See, Jason's stopping your picks, guys. I don't know what he's doing today.
I'm stopping it. Regeneron. I brought this up 2-3 weeks ago. Since then, the stock is actually like moonshotted. I literally brought this up somewhere on here. This thing is up about 25% over the 200-week SMA. The reason why Tempest was kind of a big deal, I bought this in equity. Regeneron has like the biggest database for like personal data, like personal. I think that they had a big partnership with 23andMe. And if you like the AI story, and if the market generally broadens out into biotech and AI gets applied into science, like this could be one of the more interesting plays, knowing what they have available to them. So my request to AK Media's Substack is Regeneron, and to possibly see what is the real potential here. Is this the Nvidia of biotech? And do they have, genetic database? Thank you, guys. The genetic database available to Regeneron, I believe, is actually bigger than anyone, close to like Danaher, like DH, which, by the way, also like very interesting reversal setting up. But Regeneron, local company to me, massive bearish to bullish reversal, high beta biotech. This is a big deal chart. This is not a small company, probably unknown to many people, but you don't really want to miss this one. And it's becoming too late. And I don't want to, if this is real, this is a big deal. And
Regeneron, hold on. This is a very large market cap.
It's
right?
massive. So like I said, if this is real, this is going on. Nobody's talking about it. It needs to be talked about. I think it deserves to be talked about.
Okay, hold on. Just real quick.
But I'm out of time though. You're taking my.
Is this company contingent on like FDA trials and drug? Because if that's the case, I feel like you just never know.
I don't think so.
Okay, because the reason I stay away from all this stuff is because like you got to be somewhat of an expert on the science and the drugs, right, to even touch these.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's a tech company, and they did a lot of. Anyways, all right. So that was my request. So like I said, because it's a lot of work. You know who Monative? We should reach out to Monative.
We should talk to him. He would be good to talk to him this one. Okay, ASTS.
Okay. Sorry, guys. But I can't really move until I have like comfortable like knowledge, and I just don't have time.
The only problem I have with doing deep dives on those is that you would have to learn about the drugs and the science, and I just think it's a losing battle.
Yeah, so that one I don't think it's actually going to be about that. I think it's going to be about like what their capabilities are. And if there's the power about the genetic database capabilities, well, that's a different deal, right? Because we're not talking about a specific drug. I wouldn't be interested about a specific drug. And are we just total speculation? Because, you know, if it's just total speculation, well, that's what it is. So steep and uncorrected in both directions, also steep and uncorrected so far to the downside, which could be the makings of, am I saying this? Of some kind of squeezer here. So the correction is good. Jiminy crikeys, what did you guys do to the space cadets here? Okay. This bad boy has hit a pretty heavy pullback. This one's taken a while. This is a very holy camole chart. It's unfortunately, okay, so this needs to get over 60 for me to really think. I think if this gets over 60, it's like, you know, we're back off into space. For now, 55 is interesting, but it's not going to be a momentum type level. I think this is prone to some kind of oversold bounces that get sold into. So this looks like it could be short squeezy, but it's still short. Like it could bounce to 60s, but still be a sell. It's not out of the weeds. Just it's a ways. It's got to get out of this kind of descending triangle because it's trying to get back into this lower zone right in here. So it needs more time. It's trying to get into 40s. Is what it's trying to do.
It was at 100 a couple of weeks ago. Do you think there's a shot it revisits that 30, 40 range or?
Yeah. No, it's trying. It's getting there.
So the chart's not bullish to you right now?
No, it's not bullish. You don't have any higher highs. I mean, this is called like a wedge. So it has to get out of this because in the meantime, it's just kind of traversing this, and you wait till it gets really tight. And then it gets a break of structure, and then boom, you're back up. But even then, it's like back up to where? Well, you're back up to here. So, and then at that point, you're probably back down. But right here, right now, you're not out of it. So going long here, I risk. And even if it's the first breach is usually fake, that would be your next move. This would be something I would open up on like a Wednesday at the close, some kind of hedge. If we have a really good Wednesday morning or Wednesday, I'm probably opening up some hedges at the end of Wednesday, just in case.
TMDX, Transmedics.
This is the flyer. Hey. See, dude, they're flying around. This looks good. I don't want to chase this. Looks good, but you know, it's your classic Starbucks coffee cup. I don't even need to draw it. You should see it right there. I probably need to draw it for people, but this is your cup. This is your handle. And the way that this works is that this side here, usually just a measured extension, which all this is, takes you to about 172. In this instance, 172 is going to line you up right about here. You don't, like, this is basically a fake move. This is good. You have all above all major significant simple moving averages. Actually, they're all, this is a healthy chart, dude. This is a healthy chart. You're a bit of a chase right now. So does it have to go here and now tomorrow? Probably not. If you chase in this market, what was my meme? The market will choose violence for you. So it's probably better to get some kind of pullback. But if you see this thing around like the 135s or like 140s, this looks good. Today is day one of a breakout. You saw what a breakout retest looks like on Palantir, but this looks constructive, and you're likely to get, it could go higher than that, but that's the measure move. Probably 156 first. And so this could be like boom, 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 like that.
Okay. PayPal.
Is it still PayPal, or I'm scared to look at the chart. Is it green or red?
It's green.
Is it green?
61, I think, today.
Don't lie.
No, it's green. It was green today.
It's still green? Yeah, I mean, is it green? I'm just like, let me get my microscope real quick. Hang on.
Dude, when PayPal pumps, the PayPal bulls are going to just finally stick a middle finger to everybody over the past couple of years who's been making fun of it.
Hey, TMDX looks really good though, by the way. But that's an example of like, where's the money? This is broadening. That, by the way, perfect example of like, you don't see that, guys, in a bear market. Do you remember how bearish a mint was last Tuesday? Do you remember, like, I could not get this guy to smile like one bit. Like there was no happiness in his life, like at all. But
you know what? I went to the local store and I bought a cup of ramen noodles. I was gonna show it on the screen, but I never did it. It was good though. I haven't had ramen noodles in a long time. It's been at least like 10 years, I think. It was good.
Dude, okay, so you get some cabbage and you put it in there. I'm just meat. Maybe some. Do you like mushrooms? No, not a mushroom guy.
Or the vegetable.
The vegetable.
Because I've only done the drug. So.
Put some vegetable. Ooh, okay. So not.
Yeah, I've never done mushrooms. I'm too scared to do that stuff.
You put some mushrooms. Put some vegetables in your cheap soup, and it makes it a little fancy. There you go, and you feel a little bit better about it. That's how you know I actually I actually know these things. Try it one day. You'll be surprised.
Okay, so PayPal.
So PayPal. I'm doing this. It looks constructed. I don't think this changed anything. I think that was like, these are the lows, right? And you want to see a little bit of sentiment coming up. This is the definition of an oversold bounce. An oversold bounce is not a low. It never is a low. It's just a blip on the radar. So we need to have continuation. There's no continuation. I'm trying to find it, and it's so like, I really need to get like one of those microscopes out or something. It's 62. It's literally right there. It's like this. It's this little ping. It's 62. So you're gonna need to see. So it's basically doing what it did here, right? So reject, 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 pull back, and then a big move. And so expect this. Repeat over here, which is not a one-day thing. That's like a multi-day thing. So expect this over here as you head into earnings. Maybe not all the way, but at least to 67s. That's what I see. It's just a slow grind, choppy.
I don't hate PayPal here at all. I really don't. Are they taking it to 50? Maybe 58, 55?
No. They're not doing that right now. It's the lows are in, dude. The lows are in, period. It's just a matter of like what we're talking about. To pause the time, I don't know. What we're talking about is that we're talking about whether or not we're going higher, which is a different question, right? So can we retest the lows? Absolutely. Can we get right back to the exact same lows in very short order? Absolutely. Will those lows likely hold? Probably. And we can get really close to them. And I think they will probably hold very close to it. And again, at that point, we'll have another decision to make. But at the highs right now, this is when you would probably protect yourself from the lows, not at the lows.
Agreed.
Sorry.
Are we allowed to do CoreWeave or no?
Yeah, that's a little different. So CoreWeave is not like it's different in terms of sorry, I'm all yeah. Are we allowed to do?
There is no difference with CoreWeave.
There is a difference. So
The difference is they have a lot of debt. That's the difference.
The difference is they're not like Bitcoin miner turned. They're not Bitcoin miner turned data center play. That's actually what I meant. So the other two were like Bitcoin miner turned data center play. Actually, so again, no difference on CoreWeave from whenever I did it last time, which not this time. Anyways, look at last week, Friday, TA, Technical Tuesday, CoreWeave session. It's exactly the same. It's played out exactly as I drew it, unfortunately. But the resistance, it was about taking that Thursday and saying, hey, here's the center line. You were done going down. You're still done going down. Actually, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about right now. So CoreWeave done going down Thursday here. It's done going down right there on the screen. I'm pointing that way on the screen over there. This little wick is exactly what I'm talking about. Lows are in here. Can we retest the lows? Absolutely, right? Absolutely. What we're talking about is like up here. We're talking about, are we going higher? This is a different thing on PayPal. Can we go lower? No, I think the lows are in, but now we know, like, are they going to hold? And so this is a picture, like a mirror image of exactly what I would expect if something were to reverse on us. But no, it's not going higher. And 75 here, it remains resistance. And this low, Thursday lows on CoreWeave, also remains strong support. Look at the aggression at these lows, though. This is actually strong. So the aggression in the aftermarket and it not even getting close to testing in the New York session. Oh, I'm sorry. That aggression, this is good. This is good. So this is technically a higher low, believe it or not. That's locking a low. That's what that looks like. So this low, I think, still remains to be in, but you're not going higher yet. So this needs to get through 75. Unfortunately, 77 is just like your next level of resistance. So it's a very small one. There's a lot of work to do on this chart. And then above that, it's just not much higher. It's this Friday high. Thursday high. And that's all the time I have for CoreWeave. But I don't want to get tested too many times, because too many times I knock on the door trying to get through here. I need to start to see this. Otherwise, 1, 2, 3, 4 times you're out, right? Then I can expect that, but not on the first one. First one, I'm going to hold. Cool.
Salesforce.
I don't hate it. Oh, God. I'm nervous. I'm really nervous, man.
Stock has been absolutely disgusting.
Is it over 240 or below it?
No, it's below, of course.
Come on.
Like,
dude, it's not bad.
With all the shit Benioff talks, this stock has just been not good, which makes me think it'll have a good year next year, but it's been bad.
This year ain't its year.
This year is not.
Well, yeah, it's tough too, is because like November is actually one of its best months historically. But look, earnings are coming at the end of the month, so I think this is usually like its best earnings report. Really.
Yeah, Q3. No, even last year, Q3 was good.
So I think this coming earnings report is gonna be it's usually like its best earnings report of the year.
If you're stuck in the stock, would you get out of it or would you give it a year to see?
Right here, right now?
Yeah. If someone says, dude, do I just cut bait or do I hold on?
Explain stuck.
Let's say you have an average of 230. You're up $4 on the stock.
I cut bait. That's easy.
Mm.
You're not stuck at 230. What are you stuck from?
Well, let's say you've DCA'd all year and you have an average below the price, but now you're annoyed because you thought it would be the
But you're
winner.
not stuck. You're just annoyed.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Like stuck is I have an average cost of $3. And if I sold, I would have to pay multi-millions of dollars in taxes. And I can't, and it would just be absolutely disgusting.
Or you have an average of 280 and you're bag holding, right? It's one or the other.
Yeah, but in the latter, I would have bigger questions.
Yeah.
But that's luxury problems versus everyday problems, and here I think you could strangle, which is like long call and long put at the same time, because this setup is even more violent than the index level, because this thing fails. It could get ugly fast, but if it goes higher, first of all, CRM actually makes most of its move for the year on earnings. So it's honestly, it's going to be a guessing game. And I think you get a little bit of a pop into earnings, but it's usually, historically a big earnings mover. So I do think that this gets into the 245s. As long as it can get over 235, then you have like a $10 move from there. So you probably have time. And this is the 200-week simple moving average, which historically, most of the time, this is the purple line on my screen, whenever you get a stock below the 200-week simple moving average, it's usually a good buy, right? 200-week, it's usually a good buy. 200-week, this whole thing is the 200-week simple moving average. The only difference here, there's no real difference there. Historically, look, it might be some near term. This says it could actually get a little bit worse before it gets better, which technically looks like that. So again, this comes down to your time horizon in general, right? So I can't say one way or the other because that's a very personal question. Okay. But if you just got into it, no big deal.
Big Bear AI.
IWM looks really wild. So IWM, remember January effect? I like the index is going to get wild. And I said last week or Friday, I think it was, that specific index was the most interesting to me. Side note, here's that index. Very different than SPY, right? This index, most aggressive move. This, dude, that's a big shtick. Is it Big Bear AI though? This is almost too speculative a name. It's not Big Bear AI type names. This is not where the money's moving. This is a small blip on the radar compared to like the index level. So you'd have to say, where's the money actually going? Well, we already showed you where the money's going. It's going to biotech, healthcare, that kind of stuff. It's broadening, right? You remember Merck, remember Pfizer, that kind of stuff too. That's diamonds, Dow Jones. Can this bounce? Absolutely. So it just reclaimed the 20-day simple today, right? One day does not make a trend. We all know that. And so as long as it can hold the 20-day simple, you have a small little blip on the radar that goes to the 50-day, and it can breach that. And you have this volume shelf around 7. From a trading perspective, which is all I can talk about right now, week to week, that's where you should actually expect to go on Big Bear AI. If it doesn't, and by the way, that can happen about 2 minutes flat. If it doesn't, on this guy, which is why it's really hard for me to do some of these sometimes, then it could easily be 560, which is where it was, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago.
Okay.
On this one. But it's bounced. I think all of these across the board, you take that Thursday low, Friday low.
And a lot of them trade with each other. So that makes sense. JOBY.
Yeah, right in there. Let's see if they can. Dude, this one, have we looked at Archer lately?
We should look at both together.
JOBY versus Archer. We'll pick one. The request was for JOBY.
Yeah, but people care about Archer too. So
do they? Do you guys care about Archer?
Oh, people love Archer. People love that stock.
So JOBY's going to try. So recent
someone just gave $2 to say AI is a bubble and going to pop soon.
We're going to find out. But by the way, I just said hedge time would be tomorrow. So if it does, nobody here is really going to care if they're hedged. So have at it.
But if you really thought AI was a bubble and it's going to pop soon, why are you spending $2 to say that? I'm just like, unless you want everyone else to know it's going to pop soon, then you have a big short position. But
yeah.
Anyway, JOBY, Archer, what do you think?
I really don't hate this, dude. So I think this sets up for a bounce. Soon is a relative term too. It's kind of vague. 1440, but it's really got to get over like 15. So I think you could try. I think it's going to try to get to 15s near there. And then I would want to see structure appear like that. If and only if it does do that, then it's actually going to start to look really interesting. But we're kind of far away from that right
what
now.
What about Archer? Can you go to their chart? Do you think it's
Yeah, but this is the first. This is what it starts. That's how it starts, though. So it's interesting. That's because that is how it starts. Archer, yellows are in similarly. So right at the low end of this
$6.
Yeah,
No,
dude, that's why I was asking. This, you kind of want to look at these.
Wait, hold on. Archer's below.
So this we talked about the January effect, and like you get these big moves and then these massive disappointing pullbacks, and it usually bottoms in the later half of November, and then you get another big bounce, right? And then it kind of like pulls back to December, which December locks a higher low, and then that's how this usually plays out. So, but November, late November, seasonally speaking, whose request was Archer?
This is just a lot of people.
Oh, no, you stole it. This is yours.
No. I honestly, I don't like the
just
eVTOL
accept
names.
it. Accept it.
No, I don't like the eVTOL names. I don't know why people are excited about them. I really don't. Like none of them. Archer has not even got it in production. So I don't know, but people do think they could be the future.
I mean, it's ultra speculative. I don't even know that it's a $10,000 speculative one, but it held the gap. Well, not the gap, but like that's the low end of liquidity right here. So as long as it's over this, then you generally expect it to bounce. But if you lose these areas, then you go lower, right? And I could pull this over. This is cheap name. We should probably do it this way. I mean, it's kind of like right there, dude. Like
it was $3 in September of 24. That's when I know people loaded up, went to 10 or went to like 14 at some point, and now it's
worst case. So like worst case, this is 5, which is
that would be ugly on Archer. This is a heavy retail name. This
it
is one of the
wouldn't
top 5
be
names
that,
on Reddit every day.
But the thing is, it wouldn't be that ugly for you if you just bought it at like $7 or $5, would it?
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
And that's what I think that's what we're talking about doing right now. And like, sorry, I don't want to be super special. So like low, last low. I want to see a new cohort of investors kind of show up right around here that align with this prior top, which is going to be right there. So this is just a bounce. It's a very small little blip on the radar bounce, but it's worth watching. It's another crazy name. It's an idea company. It's not like that's all it is. But anyways, if you're into these, it's worth watching here.
ONDS. ONDS.
Drones.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So held this pullback. This one, I think we had measured from that breakout to here. Let's go this way. If it loses 830, then you're going back to sevens. You're going to fall $1. Back into here, possibly to here, to that white dash line. And then you're going to need to see structure show up again. It's a good push, but you don't want to chase this. And then that would line up to your 20-day and your 50-day. And that would be a better setup. So this is very chasey after these 2 big days of a press. The only way that you could think that this is going higher is if you're over today's high. Today, this is not a bullish close. This is actually a pretty bearish close. Like super bearish. This is what that looks like. You could this is another one where you could pop up tomorrow and you could open up at the highs, but this looks like, even if you do open up at the highs, this looks like one of the setups where even if it opens up green, you might close deep red just because of the trade location here. I mean, it's one of those where it's super low float. So I'm just talking as if it was like a large cap, since that's what I trade. But it's had a good move. It's had a good bounce in the last day or two. For me to expect something like that, I don't trade this name, so I wouldn't expect that to be normal. And maybe a pullback like that happens immediately, and maybe it pushes back up again immediately. But I would expect support to be around the 20-day, 690, however you slice this, and then eventually try to make that trajectory one more time. And essentially that channel ends up looking like this. But here now you're at the top of the channel, so trade location would be better down there.
Okay. Anthony with an update on last Friday's request of Dutch Bros.
Oh, let's take a look. Anthony, what are you doing to me, Anthony? Don't make me buy another stock, man. Not going to do it.
You know, Matt loves this stock, right?
Dude, Anthony, I told you 58. I'm not moving before I see it hold 58. He's trying to bait me here, and I'm not falling for it. It's 57.35. It looks close. I mean, honestly, dude, this looks good. But it's also in the right sector, right? So meaning it's not tech, it's not like a high flyer. It's just like Celsius in that regard, where technically I think this falls into a consumer staples sector, and mid cap and all of that. So everything I've been talking about over the last couple of weeks, even if the market as a whole goes risk off, I don't think that hits Dutch Bros just because of the sectors that it lies in and the ETFs that it's part of. So again, why I wouldn't, I'm still not opposed to this at all, but they're taking a really long time to open that store. but regardless, that was an important move today. The reason why I wanted to see it hold over 58 is because I want to see those SMAs kind of start to widen any higher, and this thing's going to be at like 60 plus real fast. Does this thing move a lot? I did not think it moved that much, but it's $3 a day, 5% a day I mean, that's not a bad. And it held. So, okay. All right, Anthony. I will watch closer. If I see this really holding, it doesn't have to be 58 anymore. If I see this start to hold this 56 and change level and build a base and then start to breach, I will go ahead and move on this. But I want to see structure hold and then start to go up just like that. That's what I need to see. If I see that, then I know definitively I'm going to have at least a 63, and then I'll have some profits to deal with, and then we can make another decision from there.
Okay. Nike.
I mean, I own Nike. I think you take a shot. I think you take a shot after seeing A&F, after seeing Gap, after seeing Urban Outfitters, after seeing, I don't know, teens buying things in the mall, even though this is probably, look, it's a breakout and a retest also. Breakout, retest from the last earnings move. I mean, you get all this for free. You're pretty far. You just, as of today, reclaiming that 20-day SMA. If you're looking for a Black Friday deal, well, here you have it. I mean, this is not growth, no, but it is a Black Friday deal. I'm going to take a pick after this. And if Black Friday is literally Friday, this Friday, then I think that you can easily expect some kind of pre-earnings bounce ahead of earnings Thursday, the 25th, or Thursday, the 18th. So yeah, I think after you see Gap, after you see Urban Outfitters, after you see A&F, after you probably see AEO, American Eagle report, who is like a direct competitor to these guys, probably Levi's, probably, I don't know, whoever, Levi's, I don't know. But all these others, it's going to be a read through into Nike. I think Lulu was up pretty substantially today. We're not talking about going like epically long. Look at what this shit. Sorry. How much? 4.5% Ruru, 4.5%. Dude, just do it is the motto. I know, but I think that is a great trade location for a bounce. Probably not for a long time, but definitely for a good time. If you like it for a long time, it's an even better spot.
Yeah, all the retailers actually got a nice, I mean, Urban
It's a Black Friday deal is right here. This head and shoulders from way back when is it double top. All of that has pattern completed. For the most part, that's mostly risk off. You have a decent defensive base here around 55. Look, your risk isn't that bad. It's actually a pretty low risk entry, quite frankly. It's a very low risk entry. It's a very low risk entry. I have leaps on Nike right now, literally.
Not what strike? 75?
No,
you're not OTM. You're in the money.
I'm out of the money, baby.
Are you at 90, 80?
I'm in triple digits, honey.
There's no freaking way. You're at 100 for Nike.
Leaps.
28 or 27?
I think they're 8.
You're at 100 on Nike.
It doesn't take that many flips of a switch.
I don't think that's crazy. I just didn't expect you to go that far out. All right, you heard it here, folks.
These are 27s. Because it's not going to take that much. And yeah, I just, if it happens, it happens.
All right, that's Nike. SMCI.
And they're not that much. It's a really cheap risk reward.
Oh, it's definitely cheap. I mean, the premium's probably not.
I mean, there's pennies on the dollars, dude. Pennies on the dollars. So you want to know what a good leap looks like? There it is. Price wise.
Okay, super micro.
Oh, goodness. We want to like twist the knife a little bit. This is going to move with Dell.
So
It's going to move with Dell.
Yeah.
So it moves with everybody else, but it's going to move with Dell. This is literally, it's at, there's a fair value. This is the session gap right here. I think we're sitting on it right now, but I think we're above it. So prior, there it is. So prior TTs, I think we said in the last TT update, I said we lose this level, one of these levels, it was 33s. Here we are, 32.71. So again, this is more like, I don't know where it was, but if I had a TT playback machine, in the last time we talked about Supermicro, it was we lose this level, we're going to 33, and we actually breached 33s a little bit, and we're right into this zone right in here. So now we need to get out of it. Also, yeah, it's the 200-week SMA, which is this purple line on my screen. We did fill like a pretty hard inefficiency. I mean, if you haven't thrown this away, I don't know, but here now you have to. I think you're fine also for some longer stuff, but it's going to be very much market driven, market sentiment driven. None of my story changes on Supermicro at all, but the market tells me when, and I think it's done. I think this is done going down. Just like everything else is done going down. And now we need to wait and see if it's ready to go up. And so that will be over 34s. And then it takes me to 38s, where it basically just broke down to, at which point I need to see it like do a little dance and then make another move back into 40s. And all that said, I'll be essentially retesting the bottom of this downtrend line and back into these major simple moving averages, which will be acting as resistance at that point in time. And it's going to be very much dependent on the momentum that this builds coming into those. So I think this is bottomed with everything else for now. The SMAs need to catch up for this to really start to trend, but this is far from the simple moving averages. And I absolutely should start to expect some mean reversion. Finally.
Okay.
Cool.
Reddit.
RDDT. Dude. All right. What they did. So I think I said last time, throw some Bollinger Bands on here, and I was like somewhat shocked that a squeeze hadn't like. Anyways, so there was your move. I thought it was going to come down deeper. It didn't. Market decided to reverse course, and kablamo. There's Reddit for you. That's the personality of this stock. That's how she rolls. And I think that's it, dude. So Reddit is a very explosive stock. And when it contracts like this, it just like takes big, extensive breaths in and then whoosh, breeze out, right? And so you kind of just have to play it day by day to see, hey, is this done on this exhale of a move? And if so, it'll start to breathe in again. And you want to kind of like monitor the breath of this stock, meaning like how do I say this? Did I say Keltner channels or did I say Bollinger Bands? I don't remember which I said. Oops. Yeah, so you're like way out there.
Does anyone know why it popped 13% today?
It's technical squeeze. So right now you have a technical squeeze. So this is, if you want to know what I just overlaid two indicators. One's called the Keltner channel, one's called a Bollinger Band. Technically, this is something called a TTM squeeze, which is probably boom right there. So that little red dot, I probably could have put on and said, hey, look, a squeeze is going to come. This just tells you that a squeeze is going to come. All that means is that your Keltner channel's inside. I'm getting really technical on you guys right now. Unnecessary, but this squeeze has happened. And now you don't want to chase this. So you're late on this. And you really just, like I said before, monitor the breadth of this, and is it still in its expansion? Is the squeeze still on or not? And you'll know that from a day by day perspective.
Oh, that's true.
Right
Reddit
now,
does trade with Google many times.
Yeah, right here, right now, you're at that next resistance level. Yeah, TTM squeeze, look that up. It does not tell you much other than, okay, you can look it up. You know what, guys? I'm going to release a lot of this like School of Gain stuff, and it's going to break down a lot of this stuff real easy for you. And it'll be like real soon. So, and you will be surprised how we release it. So just stay tuned.
If you are interested in the School of Gains, again, Jason's Twitter, that is right there. His links in the Twitter bio. And you can get closer into kind of what he's doing with School of Gains, his like sort of private academy, all that stuff for TA. Grab. I'm scared. I'm not scared. I'm confident. I have not looked at this. I'm just confident, sir, You're
that
up
I
on the
caught this.
I think you got the bottom.
I did.
I think you. I don't know if we're seeing 494 again. So I think
no, that sounds really good. All right, dude. I mean, you can't. This guy comes out. I think you got the bottom, bro.
Yeah, it's at 520. You got it at 495.
495. I had the 480s. 520. And
Yeah,
then the average is about just over 5.
5.
I don't know either. But what I did know was that if you like the stock, that's where you want to start buying it.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think so far so good. TBD, right? TBD. And now we want to hold so really we want to get back over this 530 level. And yeah, so I think we are still go for a bit of a bounce. I think this bounces to 550s, even potentially into the 570 area, all the way back. But it's it's one step at a time, one foot in front of the other, quite frankly. And what we can do is say, hey, look, I just eyed that, but what that is just from the top to the bottom. This is the pathing. We want to stay over that 525. I'll show you where these come from. And then I expect to get to 570s over time. If I can hold 570s, then I am actually looking at $6. Then I really need to be on edge, because at $6, I'm retesting the top here. 525 comes from all of this. That was a key level. And I actually don't mind adding into strength moving forward from here. This is a key comment. From here, I do not mind adding into strength, because if I do see this, I can pretty confidently say that this is actually going to be a foregone conclusion, at least this pathing, which gives me room to breathe. Like I have some kind of breathing room here. And if that happens, cool. Well, then I can actually start to say, well, the rest of the story is good to go. But, and this also gives me a clean stop moving forward, which is that same 520 level. And I would probably give that a bit of a breathing, give that a bit more breathing room as well. But yeah, I like where it is. I would actually continue to add. I don't mind it.
Okay. Celestica. A couple people have been thinking about this in CIS, which is a Google supplier as well.
Oh man. Oh, wow, what a ripper. Jesus. Just own it. I mean, just.
Dude, it's up like 250% this year. I asked Tanner if he knew about the company. He said no. I'm like, bro, it's a Canadian company. How do you not? I did not know about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the best Canadian performing stocks all year.
No, I mean, like he doesn't know about it.
No, he did. He was like, what's that? I was just like, I didn't know about it either. So, but
No, it's good.
it's been doing well.
I think you're fine. I think you could still get a dip around 275. This actually does move a lot. You have a bit of bearish divergence here. So this is actually a pretty high beta name. If the market, this is very data center dependent. If the market doesn't like where we go, it's not going to like where this goes. But for all intents and purposes, it's actually only a $37 billion company. So while it looks like it's an expensive stock, it's not that big of a market cap respectively. So it has a lot more oomph than you would think. So yeah, I don't think it's really capped out, but it can be a very high beta mover.
Okay, ELF, back on the retail trend.
Should we? We should not.
I'm trusting ELF. No freaking way, dude.
We should not.
I mean, I hope it does well, but
too much China exposure. I will. I mean, it's fine. I will trade you ELF for Target.
I'd sleep better at night with Target, but the risk reward is not as fun, I feel.
For a bounce.
Yeah, for a bounce.
For an oversold bounce into Black Friday, which, by the way, I would probably sell Wednesday morning, which is tomorrow morning. I don't know. It's usually like Black Friday bounce like that. If you see them, it's usually buy the rumor, sell the news. Yeah, this is the one I plugged my nose, closed my eyes, and just went for, quite frankly.
The Target?
Yeah. ELF is not a horrible spot. Just for a trade on Target, it's like a little spot. Nothing serious at all. I just I mean, I think you can bounce, but it's so deep. I just don't have a lot of, I think you could bounce, and you could probably bounce aggressively, but it's aggressively percentage wise from like 72, like 10, 15% to 77 plus. And it's still not out of the weeds, like even close.
Yeah, I don't know what people are super excited
equally
about.
in the same breath be $62 the very next morning.
The CEO said tariffs are an issue. Until that's resolved, this thing's not popping back to 130 like it was for earnings. So
what was that? What's the other makeup company?
Ulta.
No, the one I bought and sold.
Estee Lauder.
Yeah. How's it doing? Oh, I mean, I would rather. No.
You'd rather pick this over ELF?
I mean, it's a lot more constructive, but it's also teetering. I mean, it has a lot more. I don't know. You could, but this one is on edge where, like, if it goes too much lower, this is going to go from like a very constructive bounce to a very nasty looking chart, honestly, to yet another, because this is just a lower high. And like here, this is just all of a sudden going to look like another bear flag yet again into the depths of despair. So not here. That's why I say no, not yet.
All right, last couple, and then we are done for the day. Again, please make sure to follow Jason. I'm putting his Twitter right here. He's done last Tuesday, then Friday, then this Tuesday. So He's been putting in work for all of us. Bloom Energy.
So luckily, I'm not a pattern trader, but we did do this on Friday, and I think my sentiment holds. I'm not a pattern trader, but I will call that out like very explicitly as like a very clean head and shoulders, crystal clear. What I mean by I'm not a pattern trader, it means that I don't, just because I see it, I don't move a finger. Like other people are like, oh, there it is. And like, it's going to happen. No. I don't operate like that. I see it. And I will say, hey, look, the most, you guys have heard me say this a lot of times, the most bullish setups are like failed bearish setups, failed bearish patterns. I say that, literally S&P 500 right here, right now. But this one, I have a lot of things. I have bearish divergence. You know, since Amit's favorite indicator is this thing called RSI, which, you know, not my favorite. Just so we know. This is below what we would call it like the 50 line, 50 level. This is the 4-hour chart. I'll switch to a daily. But this, when the chart is going up like this, it's not that it's coming out of oversold long ago. And this is when it came out of oversold levels. At the 50 line here, that is where you flip to bearish down here. If this goes any lower, that's that down here, that's going to go lower. So that's a bigger concern. It's not happening right now. I think this goes like that first, but the divergence is the fact that you have higher highs here, and this divergence here is the higher highs on the chart here, and lower highs on your oscillators across the board. Whether or not you're using RSI, which again, I do not, I use more efficient oscillators, much more efficient oscillators, which you can see clearly more efficient. And I'm about to squeeze to the downside, which we talked about. Squeezes, I'm just going to guess that your good old TTM is going to say that a squeeze is likely going to ensue. Actually, no, it's just saying that the momentum's shifting downwards. Anyways, all that said is that this is still a watch. It could go either way because I do trade price action. I think that this could happen here and you could still have that, but the power shift as a whole is right here at that 87 price line. So if the market actually turns, this chart is not going to break down until it's below that $87 level. And until then, this ain't breaking down. And until then, you can still see this get up to like $100. And because those SMAs are magnets, that can easily get pulled into here. It can easily get pulled into your 20-day SMA. So don't front run a pattern. But if this does go, then the downside trajectory, if you do like the stock, read it this way. If you do like the stock, then a better buy is more towards the 200-day SMA in that 45, low 50 level. If you like the stock, if that happens, then this is likely to happen. If this, then that. If that continues, if this, then that. I'm sorry, not that far. It's 25. But if you like the stock, so it's simply stating if we break below 87s or so and hold, then you should see those low 50s. Until then, you should expect some kind of consolidation up in here. Cool. Next.
Okay.
A lot of
last
lines,
two,
but hopefully that was better than last time.
Last two, Rocket, RKT.
Interest rates. So did you talk to them about interest rates yet? I mean, I'm sure you did, but so we're at like 80 something %. So we should pull this up really quick before we look at that. CBOE. What is it today?
82.9, something like that for now.
82.9. So the closer that this CBOE FedWatch tool gets to 100%, which I click on compare usually. So at the last highs, we were at 91.72%. Then at the lows, we were at 50% or lower of a rate cut. Then we're bouncing, we're at like 84%, right? What this means is that currently the market is pricing in today about an 85% probability that we get a rate cut, which means that if we get the rate cut, it's nearly priced in today already. So it's not going to be a big move, which is why you see things like, holy shamoly, good God almighty. This means that it's already priced in. So getting a rate cut is not going to do much for a stock like Rocket here and now, because guess what? It's already baked into the price. Or at least 85% of it is. How much did I say? 84.32% of it is. That's what that means when you see that kind of stuff. So don't be surprised if it's sell the news. That's why it is sell the news sometimes. So this is making its way right into the resistance at 20. I actually like this stuff. I think this is very much about the longer term like velocity of rate cuts moving forward, not just December, but like the rest of this rate cut shenanigans now, because right now we are only pricing, we are only pricing in December. We don't have anything priced in for January or March. It doesn't start more rate cuts until February or April and later, which, by the way, Powell's not even going to be around. So I think it's kind of about that and the commentary to see if this can continue on higher. But for here now, you're chasing and you're, I think you're towards the highs. But this, I like this stock. I've liked this stock for a while, but you're towards the highs. Can it go higher? Yeah. Yeah.
Last one is Micron.
Move. You have to make the cow sound. Do we have a sound effect?
We should.
You do not?
I mean, I'm not making the cow. You can. I do have the cowbell. So I guess that.
All right. So this was actually one of my shorts.
Really? You're a
Data
bear.
dog.
You are a bear.
Dude, when I was, it went down, dude. This Datadog up here. Why do you think that's bearish? This Datadog CrowdStrike at the highs. Why is taking the stock down bearish? Micron at the highs down to the lows is not bearish. Like it's just
bear, bro.
He's like, you're a bear, bro. But I'll take it down again too if I see that. Which is actually what I would.
This one did get overextended last week. You mentioned that.
Yeah. And so 232 is your kind of line in the sand. I think that's an important level that you would probably watch. This is again one where like you got to the 50-day. We play this like moving average ping pong. I actually think that this consolidates a while, and as these things start to stable out, this is going to go into a bit of consolidation phase. It's just like the rest of the market. I think this is a good take all these SMAs off, call it learning, right? We're like, you get a big move. You don't really want to press it right away, and you don't want to chase it one way or the other. You're going to get a bounce. Boom, there's your bounce. But has this really gone anywhere at the end of the day? No. So we're going to probably test these highs. Probably going to test them tomorrow. And what happens when you get right here? The people that were still long up here, what are those people going to do at that exact moment in time? Anybody who bought up here, are they going to sell at that moment live? You're about to find out like real quick. And if they do, what's that going to look like? Well, it's going to look like this. That's what's going to happen. And if that happens, what's the rest of this chart going to kind of start to look like? It's going to look a little bit like that. And that's what the story would look like. If not, right? You're going to see something that looks a little bit like this, but this is how you have to start to envision this. If not, then they're going to buy it and it's going to start to look a little bit like this. You're probably going to get towards the highs and you're going to have this little blip, this little gap in the market right here get filled. There's a little inefficiency up here and that will probably get sold off. But these people that bought down here before, if it's really bullish, they'll buy it up one more time over there. And that would be bullish structure. And then you'd have to see that. But this is all to say, this ain't a touch. You don't touch this here because this could still be extremely bearish. And it's a long way from being bullish because you need to see all of this happen. So you can watch this in these near-term moves are kind of like tradable from a short-term perspective, but you can't make a longer-term read just yet because just had a big exhaustion move to the downside, and it's in the middle of digesting that right now. But so I just played the tape out of exactly what that looks like. Quite frankly, I would defer to taking this back down rather than up personally.
Okay, so you also don't think some of the semiconductor infrastructure names, in this case memory, that have already run as much, like a SanDisk, I know you didn't like that. These are names you wouldn't just touch at the moment.
I just don't think that those came down enough. And SanDisk is very much the same thing. I think, like, look, from the highs to the lows, this is 35%, but now you're right back to the same thing. It's actually, this is played out the same exact, this is actually done exactly what I'm talking about. So it's here, I'm not going to take this short today. No, right? Like this is, I would have to be like, I can have an opinion one way or the other, but look, this is lower highs. This is, I don't know how else to explain this other than a low and a lower low, a high, a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. I mean, it's there. That is what it is. And this was support here, and then it was resistance there. So this is not bullish structure. It's not, but it's not ready to come down either because they're still kind of fighting. Can it be? It absolutely can be, but there's a long way from saying that, hey, it's ready to go back up. And if and when it is, guess what? I'll probably be right there ready to go long. But I know what that needs to look like. And I'm not going to front run it either. And I'm not going to front run the short here and chase the lows. No, because this looks like this is going to happen first. And for right now, I would wait for that if I'm going to go short. Like one of these two things. Because here, I'm not really interested in playing with that at the moment.
All right.
It's trading, right? And then valuation's a whole nother question. So yeah. Which I'm not, Western Digital is a weird one. I've always it's weird because like half of me is like, dude, Western Dig was like $30, $25. Western Dig is the same thing. WDC. This is not a small company. So $28 in April that's this year. So April this year. And when I'm talking about like come down a little bit, I'm not talking about a lot. Right? Like we're just talking about tradable zones, but like 560%. I mean, super cycle or not, that's a lot. Like that's a lot. So, I mean, if the market is like all of a sudden, I'm going to use even a good company. There's nothing wrong with these companies. Like they're actually really good companies. What's the market cap here? It's not even that bad. 50 billion. That's not even that bad. We'll see. I'll let price tell me which way we're going If it goes higher, we'll go higher.
Okay. There you go. We are done for today, folks. I think we got through about 50 tickers. Again, I'm sorry if we missed some of these tickers, but we got through.
We try
as we could. Jason's Twitter right there in the chat. You can follow him there. His links are also there in his description. Yes, I will be doing a market open, market close tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of the week, realistically, for trading, as volume is going to be pretty light.
Yeah, so it's usually like first half of tomorrow, it looks good, and then it starts to like settle down real fast after that. And then Friday is like just take the day off. Are you going to stream on Friday?
Well, I'm going to be with family, so I can't. But
yeah,
I mean, there's no point. Like, again, it's going to close at 1 p.m. No one's trading.
Yeah,
so.
It's like not even gonna show up, dude.
Yeah,
but I will watch the crypto markets because I'm interested if Amit can get his family. Do they own anything?
They don't own. My dad's asking. What is that?
Do you guys do Thanksgiving? You're gonna be with family.
Yeah, we think so. Yeah, I mean, he's asked me about Bitcoin. I've tried explaining it, but he's just like, okay, whatever. So he's never really cared.
Yeah.
But yeah, they might be interested.
Were you around that one Thanksgiving where it was just like, oh my goodness, like all hell broke loose, and like you must have missed it. I will never forget. I don't remember what year it was, but it was just absolutely ridiculous. And I just like, it was just like Coinbase was on the football commercials, and like there was, it was just, I think it was that. I don't remember, but it was just like crypto was just going absolutely insane. And then
that was 2021, dude. That was 2021 because we topped in November. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Maybe Coinbase was going public.
No,
like
Coinbase went public in 2020.
Okay.
In April of 2020. So maybe it was 2020 instead. Maybe it was Thanksgiving that year.
Yeah. So like was October.
QR code advertisement was 2021. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. November. Okay. So I'm looking 2020, 2023. Look at November. Yeah. Look at this November, end of November, 2023. Big old move. I mean, just wild sometimes.
Yeah. All right. That is it for us. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. Market open, market close, and we'll see Jason next Tuesday.
Next Tuesdays. Adios.
All right. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye.